Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I'm doing okay. Trying to get this all situated and going this morning. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but it's all good. We're here now. So today we're going to go into more of burnt toasts, breaking down the court filings and everything from where Bullhorn Betty is suing another creator known as QueenBee. And I feel like this is good because it actually shows us the actual papers that are filed in court instead of just going by what other people are saying. So, we're just gonna jump into it and get going. Here we go.
What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Yes, the good Laura. She did show me that. So cute. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. So adorable. Well, how's everybody doing today? What a crazy last couple of days, especially with the case between Bullhorn Betty and QueenBee. It seems that Bullhorn Betty, because she did not want to do the bill of particulars, filed a motion saying why she shouldn't have to do the bill of particulars. I'm not sure why she thinks that was a good idea, but I love that she did. It doesn't do her any favors at all. What's up, Wanderlust? Member for 7 months. Love you, Toasty. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a toast-filled week. I love it. Thanks for visiting us again. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Hey, what's up, Wine, Crime, and Mayhem? What's up? Betty is a child and moron. I concur with that. Tribal Gal, member for 7 months. Hi, Toasty. Hope you had a great day. I hope you guys had a great day. Thank you. Yes. So, she actually dumped 8 different items all at the same time in the middle of the night. That's the part that I love the most. Is that she filed them at like 2 in the morning almost. Like, so stupid. But yes. So we're gonna go over, there is so much. So much. So we're gonna go over something that I think that will go well with what we've reviewed in the past. So we reviewed QueenBee's lawyer who said, who served her with a demand for a bill of particulars. And so she had until today, was August 17th, was the deadline for her to turn in her bill of particulars. In other words, just sort of rewriting her lawsuit so that it was concise and made sense. And so everybody knew on both sides what the hell was going on and what this case was supposed to be about. Thank you, Link Scream. No problem. Okay, so she felt like that she didn't have to do it. So she answered with a motion to strike the notice and demand for a bill of particulars. And it is every bit of deliciousness as you can possibly imagine. So I don't know if you can see this, but she filed it August 15th at 2:54 a.m. So totally not bothered, not pressed at all. It is highly redacted out of respect for all the people, So I did redact it, so nobody's getting doxxed. So those in the bushes can cool your jets. So, like I said, this is Bullhorn Betty trying to convince the judge why I guess she's special and entitled and shouldn't have to be concise and particular with who she is in fact suing. Because here is the backstory on this. She turned in a lawsuit that was 113 pages. I was actually going to start reviewing that today before she dumped all of these documents. Because she did not turn in any bill of particulars, I will not be reviewing the original lawsuit yet. I do plan on doing so because it's absolutely fucking hilarious, but I cannot do it until after she turns in that bill of particulars, because I'm not going to be reviewing it and giving her any help to let her know where it is that she fucked up. So I'm sure that you guys understand. There's also a reason why some of my mods who are actual practicing attorneys are also not doing more than just comments here and there in my chat. And it's because they don't want to help her. I don't blame them. Do you think she filed this on one of the days where she wakes up happy? Not sure. She filed this 2:54 a.m. on August 15th. So I guess we could go back and see what she posted on the 15th. So who knows? So the original lawsuit was extremely long. And as you know, it was originally to QueenBee and to Heels in the Air. And throughout the lengthy lawsuit, she used a lot of pronouns. She was like, she did this, she did that, they did that, she. And there was a lot of places where it was really not clear at all what she was saying that Heels allegedly did or what she said that Queen allegedly did. Okay. And that's important, obviously, because if you're suing each individual person, you need to differentiate between what Heels is being accused of and what Queen is being accused of by her. Well, she didn't do that. Not only that, but her exhibits, quote unquote exhibits, I'm doing air quotes right now, in the back of the last couple of pages where she's showing her exhibits, those don't make any sense either. She says, this is what they did, meaning Heels and Queen. But then you look at what is actually there, and it's just a bunch of screenshots of me, or screenshots of deets in the street, or screenshots of like 10 or 12 other content creators. And it's like, wait a second, you can't sue two people for tweets from somebody else. Like, none of that makes sense. And so then when she said that she was going to be taking Heels off of the lawsuit, that makes it even more imperative that she fill out a bill of particulars, i.e. just writing her lawsuit again, because now that Heels, because she also filed a motion, finally, all these months later, finally filed a motion to take Heels off of the lawsuit, where a judge has not ruled on it yet. So that's why Heels in the Air is still listed on this, and I still redacted her information because, again, until that judge signs it, her name is still going to be on this paperwork. Okay. Laying in bed, battling severe anemia. Hopefully I can stay awake for the whole stream. Oh my gosh. Hope you feel better. That's crazy. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I can't believe how crazy this BHB bitch. She definitely has a few screw loose in her brain. I think she has a whole lot of screws loose. Okay. She is not the brightest crayon in the box. Okay. So when is the court date? I'm going to get to that in just a second. Thank you, Banana. Thank you for reminding me. So now that she has taken, or is going to be taking Heels off of the lawsuit, now she pretty much has to rewrite it, because it needs to be written where Queen is the sole defendant and not grouped in with somebody else, especially when you go through it and doesn't exactly say who did what, when, where, how, and all of that. So that's why a bill of particulars was demanded, which is what it's part of this process. But Bullhorn Betty thinks that it's like, harassment or something. So as far as the court date, here is interesting. So an hour ago or a couple hours ago, I checked the docket and it still says December 12th, 2023. And then like an hour later, somebody sends me a message and says, you might want to check it again. And I checked it, and now they're also meeting September 27th. So I don't know what Bullhorn Betty has planned, but clearly her Idaho trip for next month may be not happening, or she's going to have to move it because she's going to have to deal with a court date on September 27th at 10 a.m. And hopefully what he rules on, and this is just me guessing, hopefully what the judge rules on in September is obviously to officially take heels off of the lawsuit so that and she's not bothered with this anymore. And then two, to rule on some of the things that Bullhorn Betty is now demanding. One of the things that Bullhorn Betty is now demanding is that she just wants to be able to phone it in and do Zoom meetings instead of actually show up in person. That's for a judge to decide. But after all of the bullshit that she's been doing, which is now being sent to the judge, a judge has been assigned to the case. And so all of this bullshit that she's pulling right now is 100% being reviewed by the judge. So good luck to her on that, including the emails and everything. So I hope that she's ready. So, but we will see. We will see what the judge says, because I'm being told that in the state of Illinois, they do tend, especially since, the pandemic, whatever, they have wanted to more likely favor Zoom meetings than in person. But there are certain types of things that happen where you have to go in person. And so it would just, it's going to be up to the judge's discretion. And we're just going to see what happens. Yeah, it definitely is a coward move, for real. Yeah, because I mean, imagine, you pay a couple $100, go pro se, so you don't even have to pay for a lawyer. You file all this frivolous bullshit on someone and lie about them after you defamed them and doxed their children, right? You sue them, and then they not only have to try to raise money to pay for a lawyer to defend themselves, but then you want to turn around and be like, oh, by the way, after I just dumped 8 of these motions, I'm just going to phone it in. So we're going to see. We shall see what the judge decides. BHB sure has some nerve asking for any grace with courts for a Zoom meeting. I completely agree. We'll see. I mean, even if she does have a Zoom meeting, I don't think it's going to go well. That's just my opinion. We'll have to see. But wow. So now there's 2 court dates. 2 court dates. If the judge throws out Betty's lawsuit, can QueenBee still sue her? Oh, absolutely, because those 2 things are 2 different things. And if anything, if the judge throws out Betty's lawsuit, that will actually be probably, I don't know this for sure, but would probably be used against Betty and QueenBee's countersuit. So the countersuit's happening regardless of what happens to Betty's suit. Okay, I just want to be clear with that. So it's happening no matter what. Hope the judge makes her go. BHB deserves some karma her way. Yeah, because here's the thing, and we're going to get into that too. One of these documents, I don't remember if it was this one or another one, she claims that she cannot travel to, QueenBee's state in person because it would be a financial hardship for her. But what did she do when she went live today? I don't even have to say it. What did she do? She went live in another state, and she's talking about traveling in other states. So it's like you cannot have it both ways. Do you think this will be live? I know some courthouses will do it. That I have no idea. None whatsoever. It would be cool to watch it live, but I don't know. And a joke law document. This is just what I need for my mood. Yeah. So this is written very, very differently than some of the other things that she has written. It's very clear that she got help with this. It's very clear that more than likely someone else wrote this for her. Who that would be, I don't know. But this is not how Bullhorn Betty writes, ever. So I am convinced, this is just my opinion, I'm convinced that somebody else helped her write this. Yeah, she tried to say, I am poor, can't be there. Also, I'm scared, I don't want to go. Yeah, but we'll see what the judge says, because, I mean, she can't say that she's poor and scared to leave her house, and then she goes live in another state. So we'll see. So this is her, like I said, this was turned in at 2:54 a.m. So she's totally not pressed. And this is the motion to strike QueenBee's notice and demand for bill of particulars. This is her trying to explain why she shouldn't be specific and concise on her lawsuit. Fucking hilarious. So it starts off saying, comes now plaintiff, and it talks about who the plaintiff is and who the defendant is, blah, blah, blah. And it says, here's the background. Sorry. On or about June 21st, 2023, Bullhorn Betty served QueenBee with a complaint alleging defamation, tortious interference, and prospective economic advantage and intentional infliction of emotional distress. BHB has alleged, among other issues, that QueenBee has conspired and communicated with others through private chats such as Discord and other similar sites to elicit help with QueenBee's campaign of harassment, cyberstalking, bullying, and intimidation to receive financial compensation to damage BHB personally, professionally, and financially in an effort to remove BHB from the YouTube platform. Betty, I'm so glad you put that in there, because wow, who would have thought that she would be dumb enough to actually put to writing, or have somebody else put to writing her delusional conspiracy theory. This is the same conspiracy theory that she has said about me, said about Crude, said about various other content creators that she's been mad at the time. Like, she for real thinks that all of these people are behind the scenes conspiring to take her channel down or conspiring to get her. It's bizarre. It's paranoid. It's weird. It's like, what are you talking about? Will you request the official court transcript? You know, she's going to lie. Courts in the North Don't mess around. Betty is about to find out, and I'm here for it all. We'll see. I think there was a couple of people that said they were going to be trying to request that. I don't even know. I've never done that before. So I would have to find out, one, if they even allow that, and two, how you would go about doing it. But it would be very interesting for sure. She's done screwed the pooch. Yes. I mean, this is how she's starting off her argument, is with the conspiracy theory, which is yet another thing that she is not proved at all. Well, Molly said Walnut helped BHB with some legal docs, so he is probably the one who wrote it. I hope not. That would not be good for him. I hope not. So scared that is getting a suntan at a pool, LOL. You know what, B. Tim? When I feel scared for my life, I travel multiple states away and go live in my bathing suit, sunbathing. That's what I do. That's what people do. Sure. But this is going to be one hilarious court case. Break out the circus music, dear, and let us enjoy the show. Oh my God. This is great. I love how she starts off. This is fantastic. So we're on it's all a conspiracy theory, guys. We're all in this secretive, we're in the secretive mafia of the YouTubes trying to take her down. Oh my God. Okay. So then she says, on or about July 21st, QueenBee filed a notice and demand for a bill of particulars and served those upon of her. The notice and demand are littered with incoherent chatter. This is what she says about what the lawyers served her with. Somebody went to law school. Okay. It was very well written, by the way. But she's like, the notice and demand are littered with incoherent chatter about tabloid articles that do not promote BHB in a favorable light, but fail to connect or indicate how those allegations have anything to do with what QueenBee believes the deficiencies are in BHB's complaint. Couple of things here, okay? I find it interesting that BHB all of a sudden doesn't want people to use her own words against her, because some of those articles were quoting Bullhorn Betty. They were quoting her. So the fact that now she doesn't want QueenBee to use her words against her is hilarious, okay? Second of all, the fact that she thinks that QueenBee's lawyer is supposed to like help Bullhorn Betty with her case by pointing things out for her. Oh, there's just so many things that she doesn't know that she doesn't know. It's fantastic. Can you make it larger on the screen? I've tried, but for some reason it will not do. So I'm sorry about that. So wait a minute. She just sent this on the 15th saying that she's afraid and too poor to travel for court, yet she's in Tennessee. It's almost like she doesn't think judge has internet. Well, right. And this is what she also doesn't understand. Everything that she's doing right now, everything could and will be used against her in a court of law. Like all of this stuff. Like she is in a lawsuit right now. And the fact that she's pulling this tells you either she's really dumb or she's dumb and thinks that she is above the law. And she's not. So the idea that somehow a demand of particulars is incoherent and chatter filled with tabloid articles, that just doesn't make any sense. And then she lists a ruling from Illinois that involves various other cases that may or may not really apply. And then she says, if the party on whom a demand for a bill of particulars has been made believes that the party demanding it is not entitled to the particulars asked for, he may move the court that the demand is to be denied or modified. So what she's trying to say is that she shouldn't have to do a bill of particulars because she has the right to deny it. The problem with that is that she had two defendants on that original lawsuit. This on top of the fact that it's incredibly poorly written, and that one was definitely written by her. And if you compare this with the original lawsuit, it's very clear that someone else wrote this new one. Well, her original lawsuit is awful. And that is actually riddled with mistakes, punctuation mistakes, grammatical errors, sentences that don't make sense, a lot of redundancy that isn't needed. It lists exhibits that do not make sense. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it really doesn't actually explain what it is that she's upset about. She can't be vague and say, they cyberbullied me. She has to say, QueenBee did this on this day with this quote. She has to be particular, which is why there was a demand, a bill of particulars, especially again, since she's taking heels off of the website, lawsuit, because she's taking heels off. She now has to rewrite it so that we know exactly what Queen is being sued for and what she's mad at heels or whatever for. So she really has to be more concise about that. She's just doing this to buy time. Even the person that downed this for her knows it's bullcrap. If she's doing this just to buy time, she is shooting herself in the foot. If it can be proven that anyone else, not an attorney, wrote this for her, couldn't they be charged for practicing law without a license? That I do not know. I have no idea. But if it is proven, which I don't know if they're even going to go into that, but if it is proven, then that person could be in trouble. Yeah, can't do that. If anything, even if they can't prove it, if they just, well, either way, no matter what happens, it's going to harm Bullhorn Betty's case than anything else. Bullhorn Betty is probably busy building a binder wall. Oh, that's great. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. I mean, it kind of fits. Yep. If she does show up in court, I wonder if the judge will throw Battery Betty out of his courtroom with this rubbish. We'll see. We shall see. Oh, thank you, Headstones. I appreciate that. Okay. So moving on. The next part, she says, here, QueenBee notice and demand for bill of particulars are nonsense and littered with foolish, insolent talk designed to distract from the issues at hand. QueenBee seems to conclude Bullhorn Betty must prove the entire case when filing the complaint against QueenBee. No. And that shows you that her and whoever wrote this cannot parse out for shit. That is not what the bill of particulars was asking for. The bill of particulars was short and concise. It was not nearly as long as even this. And it was asking for specifics, so they know what exactly they're being sued for. That's what it was for. But yes, Rotten Ralph, anything that makes her mad is insolent talk. Not insolence, right? Right. Oh, we're going to get back to that in a second because you know how like the sick thing that you use sometimes when you're quoting people, I don't know if y'all even know what I'm talking about, but I'll show you when we get to that page. Whoever did it misused it because they were too dumb to know that what the lawyer was saying was correct. It's fantastic. Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate that. Thank you for explaining this. You're welcome. I hope that I'm not confusing anyone because I am not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. This is not really my wheelhouse, but I've read this about 1,000 times and I'm trying to explain it in a way that I would hope someone would explain it to me. So I hope that I'm not making it worse for you. So she goes on to say, however, Bullhorn Betty's complaint contains certain information under Illinois rule, and it gives the number. The complaint must contain who the parties are and advise the court and opposing parties of the plaintiff's cause of action. The complaint must use clear and concise language and contain and prayer for relief. Bullhorn Betty affirms she has met the criteria required by applicable law. She has not, in my opinion. Because when you read through it, it's very confusing because she keeps saying she did this, she did that, and you have no idea if she's talking about Heels or she's talking about Queen. And again, because she's taking Heels off of the lawsuit, she really should rewrite it so Queen and her lawyer know exactly what it is that they're supposed to defend themselves with. She sent over all the briefs to court, but not the bill of particulars. That's correct. She turned in 8 different filings/motions, but did not turn the bill of particulars. Her answer to the bill of particulars is this, what I'm reading now, which is her basically saying, hey, judge, I shouldn't have to do a bill of particulars because I'm special. So she says QueenBee has included in notice and demand an author's opinion from a Vanity Fair article. Oh, Bullhorn Betty, that's still bothering you, huh? Oh, I love that. It's still bothering you so much. Love it. Bullhorn Betty was not contacted before this article was written. Newsflash, you don't have to be. What fucking entitlement that you think that a Vanity Fair writer has to contact you to let you know that they're going to be doing their job that day? Wow. Yeah, that's not a thing, Betty. People do not have to ask permission before they write an article about someone. They're told by their boss what to do. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Senator. Welcome to the dumpster fire. I appreciate that. Why did she take Heels off the lawsuit? Well, because she had no jurisdiction to sue Heels in that lawsuit. If she wants to sue Heels, she's gonna have to do it separately because Heels and Queen do not live in the same household. They don't even live in the same state. So she absolutely had zero jurisdiction to ask the Illinois courts to go after Heels when Heels does not live in Illinois. So that on its face had absolutely no merit whatsoever. Let's see. She says the article neither indicates why the author came to the conclusion the author did, nor the type of materials the author referred to when rendering the author's opinion about Bullhorn Betty, other than the author was displeased with a single thumbnail on a video posted on Bullhorn Betty's YouTube channel. Hey, dum-dum, if she's writing an opinion piece, then it's her opinion. She does not have to provide court-level evidence in a fucking opinion piece, Betty. But I love how she's making this Vanity Fair article essentially almost an entire page in this. I love that. BHB should consider herself lucky she got Vanity Fair. Shani got Business Insider. Very true. Very, very true on that. Thank you, Crystal Silverheart. Welcome to the dumpster fire. I appreciate that. She sues instead of getting a job. There you go. There you go. Seems like it, right? She says, however, Bullhorn Betty is still confused about the relevance that said article has in these proceedings. Hey, Betty, her lawyer is not going to explain that to you because you'd be counterproductive to his defense strategy. You can't get mad because the lawyer is not giving over his strategy to you just because you're too dumb to figure it out. This is why you probably should have gotten a lawyer instead of paid someone to write this up for you, who isn't a lawyer, by the way. BHB contends the nonsense has no relevance, is immaterial to the case at hand, and is a poor attempt to introduce inadmissible and damaging information with no good purpose other than to continue the campaign of harassment, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress through improper mechanisms such as this notice and demand. So she's saying that the bill of particulars is QueenBee's lawyer harassing her. I fucking cannot. Oh God, Betty, because it's so funny because if Bullhorn Betty sent a bill of particulars to someone else, she would be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Go to court blowhard and find out, oh, I cannot wait. And if you think the judge isn't picking up on this, you are mistaken. Because me as a layperson, I have no law degree. I am not a paralegal. I do not claim to have any kind of expertise in this area. And if I'm picking up on this, you know damn well the judge is. And it's the judge that is going to make the decision. And if she pisses him off, I'm here for it. So I also found it interesting that here she's claiming that the harassment is giving her emotional distress, when in her original lawsuit, she claimed that it was mostly about Dolly. So I found that very, very interesting. Moreover, the material asserted is inadmissible. She's already tried to say that. And or irrelevant at trial because QueenBee has no avenue to authenticate the article, call the author as a witness at trial on QueenBee's behalf or against BHB. Hey, BHB, I got to ask you something. So why do you think that QueenBee, it would not be allowed to call witnesses? Why do you think that that's not going to be a thing? Just, FAFO, bitch. BHB maintains that BHB had no contact with the author of the Vanity Fair article. Betty, do you know what happens when you lie in court documents? Who in the chat remembers Bullhorn Betty going live and bitching about this article, claiming that she called the writer and left voicemail messages? She said that shit on a public live stream. And she said it with her whole chest. Because I remember reviewing it. So not only do I have a copy of it in my archive somewhere, but I also have it on my channel. And there were a lot of people back then who were reviewing her and clipping her and making videos after her. Because that was like kind of a big deal. Because remember at first, she was bragging about being written in a Vanity Fair article. Boo-boo, I got that too. In fact, she was saying that all of us were jealous because Vanity Fair wasn't writing articles about any of us. And then when I went live and many other people went live and pointed out that what was actually written in the article was not favorable, all of a sudden she was like, well, that bitch, and she talked about on a live stream about how she called the lady and left a voicemail and talked about how she was mad that the lady did not consult her before submitting the article. But yet here she's saying, quote, BHB maintains that BHB had no contact with the author of the Vanity Fair article. Oh, that's another lie, Betty. The judge is not going to like it because judges do not like liars. Oh boy. Ooh, that's not going to go over well. She goes on to say, or the person who wrote this goes on to say, most of the language throughout this notice and demand, a responsive pleading, okay, sure, appeared to be more of insults, affirmative defenses, or justification asserted by QueenBee rather than a notice or demand for anything from BHB. We reviewed that on this channel. It was very clear. It was very short. It was very concise. It basically said, hey, listen, be more specific. What are you talking about so that we can proceed with the case? And one of the things that we're going to go over, because she actually posted those emails that I made my video out of. Hey, what's up, Mama Bear? She actually posted those emails in this document, like an idiot. So now it's public. So now I can make videos after them and other people can review it. Now she can't be like, oh, how come people are reading my emails? Well, bitch, you put it in a public document for everyone to see. And what Bullhorn Betty doesn't seem to understand is this. Lawyers do not have to be nice. They have to be right. Your bruised ego does not equate to unprofessionalism. Okay. BHB further expresses that it has no relevance other than to continue QueenBee's campaign of harassment, defamation, and for BHB to endure additional intentional inflictions of emotional distress, which is the subject of this lawsuit. But that's the thing, Bullhorn Betty. You can't just say things. You have to actually show it. No one's asking
and she's doing the same thing to QueenBee as well.
But you do need to actually show dates, times, timestamps, exact quotes, who you're talking to, when it happened, how, when, where. And that's all the bill of particulars was asking for, is for you to actually say what it is specifically. Hey,
you don't know what it is.
Well. Bex, I don't know what to tell you, but I have called out Tiffany Marie. In addition to that, I don't do true crime. Okay, so there's lots of other really great channels that will call out misinformation or whatever that are specific to like Summerwell's case. But no, I can give you a list of them. If you reach out to me, I'll send you links and you can have at it. But I'm not going to go through a case with a fine-tooth comb. This right here is the only exception because I review Bullhorn Betty and I had given my word to my audience and my subscribers that if anybody ever countersued Bullhorn Betty, I would do this. Whether it was somebody I knew, didn't know, didn't like, I gave my word that I would do this, and that's why I'm doing it here. Thank you, Social Fade, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, I appreciate that. Somebody tag me. I think she means prior to the publication of the article. Yeah, that's the thing. She doesn't have to, well, if she means that she didn't contact them prior, then she should have said that. But here she says she's had no contact with the author at all. So that's she can't now go back and retcon that. But I see what you're saying. I don't know what she meant, but what she has written down is what the judge is going to rule on. Betty continues to characterize items as inadmissible when this is a determination of a judge, not her. That is correct. Moreover, the article is published. It does not need to be authenticated. That is also correct. Also, if she is that upset over the article, then why is she suing QueenBee about the article? Do you see what I'm saying? She really needs to be more specific about this. I guess the judge isn't giving her an extension. No, because this, what I'm reviewing right now, is her, this is her response to the bill of particulars. But if you notice, Headstones, there is a new court date on September 27th that has now been added. So I'm hoping that the earlier date will be when the judge decides on this and some of the other things that she dropped the other day. I guess I already read that, sorry. If Betty loses this case, can we send her back to wherever home planet she came from? Oh my goodness. The writer of this confused the bill of particulars with the countersuit. That is, thank you, that is such a great point. The bill of particulars has nothing to do with the lawsuit. The countersuit, I mean. The bill of particulars and how she rewrites the lawsuit might be able to use later, depending on a lot of different things. But the bill of particulars doesn't have anything to do with the countersuit. It's about the original lawsuit. So yeah, that's an excellent point. Whoever helped her do this is also an idiot. Crystal Silverheart, thank you so much. Thank you for being kind. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Do we know if she refiled where Heels lives? No, she did not. She actually filed a motion to remove Heels from the lawsuit. So I hope that goes through because, I mean, she should have never put Heels on there to begin with. So, hey, what's up, Alice? Okay, so then she, let me see. She says, Bullhorn Betty does not contend any of the information contained in the information of the, okay, I gotta rewrite that. BHB does not contend any of the information contained in the introduction of the notice and demand is true. Okay, but BHB further states, even if true, has no relevance to the matter at hand and does not contain a nexus from the statement contained. Oh, they must have really pulled out the dictionary that she brags about. Contained in the introduction to the unclear issues or defects raised in the notice and demand. That was complete nonsense. You don't talk about incoherent. That's bullshit, right? Just write the lawsuit so that we know exactly what you're bitching about, and we'll go on from there. To address the second article that could not be verified or authenticated by QueenBee and is therefore irrelevant or hearsay among other challenges. Bullhorn Betty, that's for a judge to decide. Furthermore, you can't get mad because people are providing evidence of your own words. The other article that she's talking about is someone who interviewed Bullhorn Betty, and Bullhorn Betty gave permission to have it publicly posted. It was Bullhorn Betty's own words, where she was talking about how she was only suing somebody just to make them a little nutty. And she didn't actually care about the lawsuit. She was just doing it to basically harass somebody. So why would you think that the lawyer is not going to use that to defend their client? You idiot. Any good lawyer would do the same. Thank you, Kindness and Grace. Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome all the new members. Thank you. It looks like she got one of Simple Minded Sims wrote that for her. I mean, whoever did not do her any favors at all. I am shocked she didn't add our favorite piece of bread to her lawsuit. I'm sure she wanted to. You'd think with her fancy press pass, right? Oh my God. Okay, so she goes on to say, either way, BHB contends. Oh, let me go back for 1 second. So she talks about how it's hearsay. Betty, if somebody is posting quotes, they're quoting you from an interview, that's not hearsay, that's you say. That's something that you said that is now being used against you 2 years later. That's not hearsay, okay? Thank you, QueenBee. She says, thank you for redacting those court documents and thank you all for help and donations. Thank you all for the love and support. Thank you. I feel so bad that you're in this predicament. I mean, really, this sucks, but we got you. And in fact, I don't want to do this now since it triggers her so much because she actually mentions the PayPal later in this document and it's glorious. So here is, you don't have to, but if you would like to help, here is the PayPal pool for the countersuit. The lawsuit has already been paid for. So thank you guys very much. I donated as well. And that is the link if you want to help with the countersuit, which is different than the lawsuit. Okay, so I'll just pen that. There you go. And let her look at that all night since she's so upset about it. Let's see. She goes on to say, okay. Either way, Bullhorn Betty contends she has never filed a frivolous suit or has had action, sanction, verbal reprimand, or any other penalty of any kind for any wrongdoing in a court proceeding. Betty, another lie. Again, you were quoted in an interview admitting that you filed a frivolous lawsuit. Girl, what are you talking about? This is amazing. And if you think that other lawyers cannot be contacted, you are dumb. You are so dumb, but keep lying. Sassafras Craft member for 10 months. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, she does. She really does hate that QueenBee was able to raise the money. And she bitches about it at the end of this. It's fantastic. It's almost like if you claim you're a public figure and make content for the public, that anyone in the public, including reporters, can have opinions on it. Weird. Isn't that crazy, true crime? It's so crazy, right? It's almost like all of us can have our own opinions, not just her. Wow. I see what you said about this being written by someone other than BHB. None of this sounds like her previous writings. That is correct. And after reading her 113-page lawsuit and the other stuff that she's written in emails and other types of things where she claims it's formal writing, this is not, there's no way. She had to have had help with this. It's still poorly written, but it's just a different style that is not her. Her bikini bottom isn't a twist. Oh, God, I don't want to think about that. Gross. Okay. She says, further, BHB voluntarily dismissed the case for certain reasons inadmissible for these proceedings. And QueenBee has no knowledge of whether there was an out-of-court settlement, confidentiality agreement, or any other information related to this action other than newspaper articles, which are irrelevant and immaterial to the issues at hand and leaves BHB confused. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're so dumb you're confused. But there's this thing called a cell phone and email. It's fantastic. You can contact people. It's great. It's so great. Again, you chose to sue QueenBee. No one chose to sue you. You chose to sue her. So God forbid she gets a lawyer who is badass and is making you look like a fool. Like, this is fantastic.
And she has
a
lawyer
QueenBee raising other claims on behalf of other individuals not included or made a part of this action. Another conspiracy theory. I love it. I love it. So here she's claiming that QueenBee is defending herself in the lawsuit on behalf of other people. Betty, are you okay? Like, are you, like, seriously?
Hey,
are
Casey.
You okay? Do you need help? Just blink.
It's okay, honey.
Just tell me if you need help, because you sued Queen.
But I just
Queen
defending
herself is not raising claims on behalf of other people.
I tend to forget stuff too.
QueenBee has no rights or authority to raise or assert claims on behalf of any other individuals, except in certain circumstances, which usually involve a fiduciary duty on behalf of another person or other reasons. Again, that's a conspiracy theory, Betty. That's a delusion in your mind. This is between you and QueenBee. I read the demand for the bill of particulars. I reviewed it. I didn't see a single thing where QueenBee was saying, oh, well, BurntToast would like this, and Deets would like that, and Headstones would like this, and B10 would like this over here. That's not what it said. This is between you and Queen.
Feeling a little better.
But nice deflection. BHB contends that QueenBee has no authority to raise claims on behalf of any other individuals indicated in the notice and demand. Girl, you just said that like 3 times. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that, but okay. I have my list of suspects who helped to write this. Now, this is interesting. Okay, QueenBee states she is unable to understand what BHB's grievances are. BHB has gone to great lengths to provide concise language and an abundance of exhibits to support the legitimate claims asserted therein. This is done in good faith, so there's no unfair surprise. But BHB, you weren't concise in your language, and your exhibits are like other people's tweets. How are blank screens tweets have anything to do with you suing QueenBee? Talking about adding people, like other people, onto your claim here. Like, you're doing the exact same thing in your lawsuit. You cannot do that. BHB has the burden of proof. As such, BHB has the burden of proving her case in a court of law. QueenBee is entitled to discovery in this matter. Finally, something that we agree on. QueenBee is 100% entitled to discovery. And I think, in my opinion, that is kind of what she's scared of. It's on brand. She tried to pull you into Crudes too, though. She had to put you in this one somehow. Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. But I think what she means by on behalf of individuals, I think she means a lot more people, not just me. So. Bullhorn Betty's bad teeth cavities. Oh my God. BurntToast got toothpaste. Oh my God. That's funny. That's hilarious. Oh, funny. Let's see. QueenBee understands that Illinois courts historically disfavor motions to strike. And then it talks about vehicles and Forest River Incorporated. And it says, however, BHB prays this court will observe the intentional, malicious, and prejudicial actions of QueenBee and find this as an inappropriate remedy. Betty, you'll find out. You will definitely find out. Then the next section says other issues raised and the notice and demand. Lastly, to address the conclusion, it said notice and demand lawyer intentionally and willfully misrepresented facts to this honorable court when the lawyer expressed to this honorable court as an officer of this court that BHB demanded that the lawyer cease communication with her, which is categorically false, and BHB prays this honorable court takes notice of the lawyer's willful misrepresentations to this court, especially in further and future proceedings related to this matter. Whoa, Bullhorn Betty. That's going to get you in big trouble, because that is not just a little lie. That's a massive lie. You 110% told that lawyer in those emails to cease communication with you. You were even dumb enough to incriminate yourself by adding it to this document like a fucking moron. And for you to sit here and not only say that you didn't say that, so that's a lie, right? You're lying to the judge now, Betty. But in addition to that, you were trying to accuse the lawyer of a crime. Wow. Do you think that this is going to put you in a favorable light with the judge? Do you? Because I don't think it will. It wouldn't make anyone look good. Pro se or not, you are, this right, that one paragraph is malicious as fuck. And that is exactly how I think the judge is going to see it. Because that's not right. You flat out lied here. But you didn't stop. You kept going. As you can see, all the green that you see, that's all the times that she's bitching about the lawyer. Yeah, she bitched for the lawyer, a part of this page, all of that page, and into the last page. Okay. She goes on to say, the lawyer was not attempting to engage or confer with Bullhorn Betty in a dignified manner. Okay, so again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. Lawyers do not have to be nice, they have to be right. Just because you get a bruised ego does not equate to unprofessionalism. I thought you said you were some badass, Betty, that you were like, this is the year of lawsuits, and I'm going to sue all the haters, and I'm going to take them to court and show them what's what, and I'm an expert in the law, blah, 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 blah. Whatever happened to all of that? What happened to that, Betty? All of a sudden, you get in front of an actual lawyer where you're having to actually do real court stuff, where the person's not going to cave. They're saying, fuck you, now I'm going to countersue you. And now you're like, oh shit, now I got to deal with this long term. Because let me just be very clear, this is not going to be cleared up in December. This is going to go well into next year. And if she keeps doing this, she will be tied to QueenBee and this lawyer for a very long time. She says the lawyer sent an intimidating letter to Bullhorn Betty to demand Bullhorn Betty drop the action against QueenBee. Betty, if you thought that email was intimidating, that's very interesting. I'll just leave it at that. She says, in good faith, Bullhorn Betty reached out to the lawyer by email to express that the letter was not well taken and politely told him, stop right there. You were not polite at all. Are you kidding me? You bitched him up and down, and you call that polite? Oof. So she said she was not well taken and politely told him BHB would not drop the lawsuit and that the statements disclosed in the letter were more untrue statements by lawyer's client, QueenBee. His response was again unprofessional and did not display proper or professional decorum. Why? Because he didn't hold your hand and say, oh, here, Bullhorn Betty, let me just tell you how to represent yourself. That's not going to happen. He's not your lawyer, Betty. He does not have to be nice to you. He does not have to hold your hand. He does not have to turn over his strategy of what he plans on doing or not doing or what he's thinking or not thinking. He doesn't have to do any of that. This is, in fact, he even told you in that original email, he told you point blank, you probably should get counsel. You need to get a lawyer to defend you. Okay. All right, Betty. Sure. Let's continue her rant about the lawyer. She says, it was clear the lawyer had no intention of conferring with BHB. By his emails, it was very clear that he did. And the reason why is it's just easier when you're able to communicate with the opposing counsel. That's something else that the judge is going to be probably at least annoyed with. And that is the judge is going to talk to you and QueenBee's lawyer and be like, you know what? Please explain to me why there wasn't more communication happening. And instead, Bullhorn Betty was posting 8 motions in one day. And you know what the lawyer's going to say? Oh, you need to ask Bullhorn Betty because she told me to not communicate with her until you were standing in front of a judge. I'm sorry, Betty. You were so dumb to put that in writing. You were so dumb to say that to begin with because you just shot yourself in the foot. Because that only hurts you. It does not hurt the lawyer or QueenBee. It hurts you and the way that you are presenting yourself to the judge. She says the lawyer insisted on slinging insults and was verbally combative for no reason and not in the interest of preservation of judicial resources and acting in bad faith. Another accusation. Oof. Wow. I'm sorry. Is she suing the lawyer or QueenBee? Because now I'm confused. This is supposed to be about her lawsuit against QueenBee, but she is spending a page and a half complaining about him. Okay, sure. And you've now accused him of 2 crimes. Wow. Okay. BHB does not have to consult with opposing counsel when the opposing counsel cannot even conduct himself in a professional or dignified manner. See attached Exhibit A. And we're going to get to the emails at the end. So here you are saying that you never did tell him that you shouldn't have to communicate with him, but then you tell on yourself and say, oh, I shouldn't have to communicate with him. Girl, this is not going to go well for you. I'm telling you, the judges do not like it when people are like, yeah, I don't want to communicate with the lawyer at all. That's oof. Okay, girl. All right. She says, BHB believes this honorable court will also conclude the lawyer's demeanor is not one that is professional or something Bullhorn Betty should have to subject herself to when dealing with a licensed attorney. Betty, do you remember your own words when you were threatening to sue the entire internet? What was it that you said? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What was that? Oh, yeah. You said that judges don't care about how you feel. They don't care that this hurts your feelings. You chose to sue Queen, and this is what it has become. Girl, that's on you. Judges do not have to be nice. Lawyers do not have to be nice. You're the one that has said this from your pulpit on your channel for like a year and a half now. That judges don't care about your feelings. They care about the law. And this is not going, this is great. I love this. She says, now she's saying BHB is happy to work with opposing counsel for meaningful resolution only if Mr. Lawyer intends to conduct himself in a professional and ethical manner. I'm going to read between the lines here, because this is the same exact like style, like not just style, but like this is the same attitude that she had toward Crude back when all of that was happening, where she was like, I'll play nice if you give me everything I want. That's also not how this works. Okay. This is not the first time the lawyer has had issues and or misrepresented details in one of his client's cases. Oh, Betty, now you're going to slander the lawyer. Oh, wow. Okay. Here we go, folks. She says, although the lawyer was not sanctioned, the lawyer's clients were. Please see, and it gave like a ridiculous website. And then, of course, I can read you all of this, but essentially what happened was it looked like, okay, I'll just read it to you, okay? This is what it says. This is what she's citing. It says, based on the above events, plaintiff contends that defendants and their counsel intentionally misrepresented the number of hard drives in their household in their discovery responses. And then it goes on to say that the plaintiff was, I believe, sanctioned, or one of the either the plaintiff or the defendant lied, and they were sanctioned because they lied. The lawyer didn't lie. The lawyer didn't get in trouble because he didn't do anything wrong. But here she is, unable to have basic reading comprehension and claiming that it was the lawyer who was at fault for misrepresenting facts. She's getting dangerously close to a line, and I'll let her fuck around and find out. She's waiting for a reaction from the attorney so she can file a complaint to the ethics committee, thus to further hold things up. That's probably right, but he is smart and he doesn't react that way. And since she told him to not communicate with her, he hasn't, and he doesn't have to now. So when they go before the judge in September, and it's fast approaching, she will have to explain to the judge why she decided to tell him that. She goes on to say, moreover, the lawyer included in the intimidating letter, and then she starts quoting the letter that the emails that we're about to read, in which he says, none of the foregoing will be looked kindly upon by the judges of the Ninth Judicial Circuit of Illinois. I have no doubt they will, being in receipt of this information, have no issue with awarding fees for a frivolous suit filed for improper purposes. Now, I thought this was hilarious because whoever wrote that apparently didn't know what foregoing meant and thought that he had misspelled it or used it wrongfully. That is the correct foregoing, so I thought that was hilarious. They stuck that in there. I guess they saw that in a quote and they're like, oh, I guess we're supposed to put that every time we quote somebody. Okay. A sync is basically where you use it when you're quoting somebody, and it's to show that as you're quoting them, they made a mistake, either a grammatical error, a misspelling, used the wrong word. It usually has to do with a spelling error, but it's used to show that you are quoting their quote, and any mistake that was made in that word is their original quote and not you making a mistake about the quote, if that makes sense. OMG, lawyer Maven. Yes, girl, she has got herself in quite a pickle. It's beyond word salad. She put this shit in a blender. It's now just jumbled juice. This is way better than I ever imagined. I severely underestimated how dumb she actually is. Yes, me too. Like, I thought surely after she realized that she messed up, she would kind of like reel it in and it would be boring and then there'd be nothing for me to review other than just to update you guys. But she's just continuing to provide all of the lulz, and I'm here for it. So she goes, BHB affirms, oh, y'all like this. Wait for it. Wait for it. This is probably one of my favorite parts. She goes, BHB affirms that QueenBee has not paid for her attorney fees. I'll give the chat a couple of seconds to catch up. I think I got a message on him. Isolationist, thank you so much. For the Cash App, you said for womp womp. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I saw somebody else asking if she's required to be there in person. So one of the 8 things that she actually did file at almost 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning was she filed for basically the judge to give her permission to do like a Zoom call instead of being there in person. That is up for the judge to decide. But you piss the judge off and he may make her go in person. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables in that. So I don't have any idea of what it's going to go. More than likely, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things I could say on either side of that. So we'll just have to see. But again, even if she does get to do the Zoom thing, this is probably not going to end well for her. While she took what Laura said, she said that because not all the money is from donors, LOL. Right. Yeah, she's very dumb to say that QueenBee has not paid for her attorney fees. What? Do you think that he's working for sandwiches? He is absolutely getting paid. Are you kidding me? Stella, thank you so much. She is waiting for a reaction from the attorney to see if she can file a complaint to the ethics committee, thus to further hold things up. Yes, I completely agree. But he's smart. I don't think he's going to do it. I mean, he hasn't contacted her at all. So she goes on to say, she's like, BHB affirms that QueenBee has not paid for her attorney fees and is rendering payments to the lawyer by eliciting donations through PayPal.com. Oh, poor baby. You're mad because QueenBee was raising money to pay for her lawyer. Thank you, Mr. Maven. Irrelevant. You want to talk about something that doesn't have anything to do with anything? It would be this. Why do you care how she is paying for her lawyer? How does that have anything to do with you suing QueenBee? It does not. She could win the lottery tomorrow. She could stand on the street and panhandle. She can have a PayPal pool. She can do whatever she wants. If she raises the money, whether you agree with it or not, to pay that lawyer, that's one, none of your business because she's paying the lawyer. You are not. And two, the lawyer is getting paid. It doesn't matter if maybe some random stranger says, you know what? You don't have to raise money at all. I'm just going to write a check. Even if it was just some random benefactor that just showed up and paid for it. Again, it doesn't matter. Are you jealous, Betty? Because this comes across as being extremely malicious and jealous. So she puts screenshots. These are some of her exhibits, guys. It's a lot of exhibits. It's basically screenshots
jealous
of her PayPal pool.
Because her people
she's raising
didn't
money
donate
to
for her
the
to
lawyer.
sue
So let me get this
QueenBee.
straight. First, they say that she doesn't actually have a lawyer, that she was raising money and keeping the money, because that was the original story, right? So then the second story was that, okay, yeah, she retained the lawyer, but he was like one of those 99-cent lawyers. I didn't know they existed, but apparently there are lawyers who will defend you in civil court for $1. And then when they found out how much
Never heard of
a
those.
lawyer actually costs, $7,000 to $10,000 to defend yourself in a court like this, for a case like this, all of a sudden, now it's, oh, well, how dare she raise the money to pay for it? You've got to be kidding
I wouldn't want a lawyer for $1.
So that was actually in there. And then, of course, the last page, she says, oh, not the last page, but the last part of the actual explanation as to why she shouldn't have to do the bill of particulars. Like she's so entitled. She says this, the first campaign was for $6,000 and the second campaign was for $10,000. So do you think the judge gives a shit?
Agree. So
He does not.
he don't care.
And you'll find out because he will tell you that it doesn't matter how she's paying the lawyer. If the lawyer is saying that he's getting paid his hourly rate that he charges and he's satisfied with the payment and he's doing the work and filing all the stuff for her,
It's none of
what
Betty's
does it matter?
business.
Talk about things that are irrelevant. And the $10,000 one, again, is for the countersuit,
This whole damn
which has
lawsuit's
nothing to do
irrelevant.
with the bill of particulars, Betty. Another irrelevant nonsense in your incoherent document. Thank you, Stella. Actually, people are advised to get a GoFundMe, PayPal, etc., to help with their lawsuits in cases their livelihood is harmed. That is also correct. If Bullhorn Betty were to raise money to get herself a lawyer, QueenBee would not be able to bitch about that in any of these documents. So why does Bullhorn Betty think that she gets to? Also, not so subtle hint to the judge that BHB is currently
Because
stalking
Bullhorn
QueenBee's
Betty
actions.
thinks
Nice
you
one,
don't
Betty.
have to
Real
do
smart.
a bad
Wow,
guy
that's
thing.
very interesting. Didn't think about it that way. A lawyer typically sends the other lawyer the paperwork. Did Bullhorn Betty get a real one? No, she did not. She is pro se, which is why the way this is written is very curious, because I will just leave it at that. She goes on to say, at this moment, the first campaign ended and is no longer active. QueenBee raised more donations than requested from QueenBee's donors, and her second campaign is active and ongoing as she is currently eliciting donations from her donors as of the date of this filing. Who the fuck cares, Betty?
Right.
Do you know why she ended the first campaign? Because the first campaign was about defending herself. She got the money. She ended it because she didn't need any more. And that extra money that she raised is going to have to deal with all of these frivolous motions that you dumped at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. Again, that stuff has to get paid for. A lawyer does not work for free. She says BHB further agrees this motion to strike does not bar defendant QB from raising a more concise bill of particulars, but believes the current notice and demand for bill of particulars are improper in its entirety and must be stricken for the above. Betty, QueenBee isn't the one who has to make a bill of particulars. That's you, dummy. That's why QueenBee's lawyer was demanding a bill of particulars from you.
Really
a bill of particulars is essentially like the TLDR of a lawsuit when you're very vague. You need, oh my God, like she doesn't even know. Oh, jeez. Betty, how is it that I'm an ordinary layperson and you're supposed to be this expert in the law and you don't know about this?
She ain't expert in
It is not QueenBee's responsibility
except for being an idiot
to raise a more concise bill of particulars. She's not the one suing you, Betty. You're suing her. Wow. Okay. That was a lot of dumb. Hey, Judge, look how many people who see the online stuff I'm complaining about and agree with Queen. Excellent point, Amy. Excellent point. This is crazy. This is crazy. Wow. This whole thing is one massive temper tantrum because she's mad that QueenBee got a good lawyer. If you really want to boil it down, she's mad because she's not getting her way. Queen is not caving, and the lawyer is very good and obviously knows what he's doing. That's what she's mad about. She says, now, therefore, in all caps and in bold print, plaintiff BHB requests this court to strike defendants QueenBee's notice and demand for a bill of particulars respectfully submitted. And of course, I added this by Battery Betty, aka Upsetty Betty, aka Bullhorn Betty. And then she even writes here, pro se plaintiff. Okay. All right. So now, and this was proof that it was sent to the lawyer and of course Heels, which hopefully will not be on the next round. So now we're going to get into her exhibits that she put this in the document. And this is where I made my videos from or whatever. And I did add these. See if y'all can hear it. Your professionalism is disgusting. Did y'all hear that? Somebody told me I should probably add those. It's like sound bites. I don't know if you heard that or not, but let me know. Come on, guys. It's clear to assume she's extremely well reversed in the law. Y'all are being roaches. Haha. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, it's echoing? Weird. Okay, well, I did add this one.
Now, if you would like to speak to me, address me with some professionalism.
Okay, I muted my... Okay, now I'm going to mute myself and then do it again. Hold on.
Now, if you would like to speak to me, address me with some professionalism.
Did that echo that time?
Nope.
If it did, maybe it's because I'm sharing my screen. That makes me mad that it's echoing. Oh, it's a cool echo. Oh, okay. Dang it. Okay, well, we're going to read the emails because she says all of that in her emails. I'm quoting her. No sick. So this is her exhibits. Okay, so this is her proof, air quotes, proof that Queen's lawyer is unprofessional, that it's incoherent, that it's irrelevant, that he's disgusting and mean, and all of the meanie poopy head things that she claims that he is. Okay, so this is the exact email that he sent her. Okay, I represent says, Dear Bullhorn Betty, I represent QueenBee as it relates to your lawsuit against her. This letter serves as our only demand that you immediately dismiss our client from the suit. If you fail to do so, and my client is forced to incur any fees in defending herself from the factually inaccurate and legally frivolous complaint, then we will seek a fee recovery under the Illinois Supreme Court rules and reserve the right to file counterclaims, including the abusive process. Okay, that first paragraph, I'm not seeing where she's saying that he's like, verbally attacking her and intimidating her and all this stuff. Just because she's intimidated does not mean that he was intimidating her. Oh my God, she should get a soundbite of the adults from Peanuts cartoons if that's what I hear when BHB speaks. Oh, that's hilarious. It's very well written. I completely agree. And then he says, we strongly recommend you consult counsel. No doubt you may find this letter to be quite aggressive given your past behavior.
And that's on a line by itself too.
But
Check
frankly,
that out.
it is not my usual Miranda's operandi to engage in strongly worded letters. However, through my investigation of the situation, I've become aware that you have filed boilerplate complaints, which she has, repeating the same or similar allegations against others, which she has. It says you have been quoted as stating you file lawsuits simply to drive people crazy, which she did in that interview that she does not want the judge to see. But whoops, it's there. Judge is going to see it. I also become aware through inspection of metadata that others participated in the preparation of your complaints. Uh-oh. Oh no, Betty. Almost certainly the unauthorized practice of law. Betty. Oh, if he's got proof of that, you are in big trouble. Interesting. Okay. Finally, I am aware of your colleagues stating that you cannot win your suits, but you file them simply to cause financial pain for your targets. She has said that in an interview. None of the foregoing will be looked kindly upon the judges of the Ninth Judicial Court of Illinois. So, of course, foregoing means something that you want to do without. So, basically, he's saying that because you are saying, you know what, I will do without communicating with you, but the judge is not going to look kindly upon that. He then goes on to say, I have no doubt they will, being in receipt of this information, have no issue with awarding fees for a frivolous lawsuit filed for improper purposes. Now, Betty, the idea of somebody like countering for lost money that they had to spend on a lawyer and the aggravation of all of this, like that's to be expected. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Boilerplate is a colossal term used to describe stock language in a legal document that appears in all instruments of that type, general standardized language in a legal instrument. Yes. So yeah, that is correct. But she apparently claims that that's intimidating her. Oh, poor baby. Mm-hmm. He's on to say, if you do not abandon this foolhardy endeavor, we will successfully defend this claim and seek a fee award from you. You have until the end of day on July 18th, 2023 to file a notice of dismissal and secure an order dismissing our client. If not, we will proceed accordingly. You will find an evidence preservation demand attached. And of course, he attached basically saying that you need to not delete your live streams, don't put it on private, don't be deleting your tweets or anything. So she's not allowed anything related to her channel at all. She is not allowed to be deleting it or hide, that kind of thing. So again, very professional.
Welcome back,
told her what's up.
Casey.
It was very concise, right? This is how she responds. This is how she responds. Dear lawyer, first, I found your demand letter very insulting and lacking great facts.
She's an idiot.
Second, I find it hard to believe an attorney would initially try and intimidate me through a demand letter. Oh, honey, this is standard
They
procedure.
demand letters all the time.
She can't handle a nicely, professionally written email saying, hey, you might want to get a lawyer because I'm going to be defending my client, right? Like that's, oh my God. It says, your information is very much incorrect. There have been 2 lawsuits, both of which I prevailed on. Another lie. Betty, you really, really should stop doing that. You should stop doing that. All this can be proven, Betty. Just let you know. It can be proven. She goes on to say, I don't take the act of suing someone lightly. I have repeatedly told her to stop. She continues to lie about me. And there's a lot of exclamation marks all through this. Even your demand letter is defaming and untrue. Have her give you all the lawsuits I filed. No, I will not drop the lawsuit. Have a nice day. Have a great day. BHB, please sue Vanity Fair next for their article next. We all need comedy Mondays with BurntToast. That's funny. Lacking great facts. So facts are good, but not great. You know what, Mystery Maven? What can I say? Oh, this made me laugh. Then she, again, that was like, I'd say about some hours later, he emails her back. Now this is, so this is how he responds. Bullhorn Betty, I received your email. While I disagree with your conclusions, we note your intention to persist and will proceed accordingly. As for my letter and to prevent any misunderstandings causing you to file another suit, please note that under Illinois law, defamation requires publication to a third party. Even if the letter's contents are untrue and were not subject to litigation privilege, then it will still be sent only to you. Thus, there is no basis for your claim. I love that. So he's already been like, hey, don't be trying to threaten to sue me.
Yeah,
because
like,
you got a
hey,
case.
don't threaten me.
True crime, thank you so much. Subtle shade of unauthorized legal practice, a chef's kiss, right? Betty might want to actually get a paralegal degree and fast if she doesn't already have one. Oh, wait, they're not retroactive. Yes, very interesting, right? It can be proven 2 pages up, LOL, where she says she voluntarily dismissed the lawsuit, not that she prevailed. Thank you, good egg. Exactly. Bullhorn Betty has a bad habit of incriminating herself. So I don't know if she's just not paying attention or she doesn't care or what, but yeah, you're right. Earlier in the document, she does say that she did not prevail. So here she's saying she did. Okay. So that was what he said. And then she says, this is her response. Dear lawyer, your professionalism is disgusting. That's my favorite part. She says, my concern would not be a lawsuit filed against you, but rather a complaint. So now she's threatening him with a legal complaint. Okay, girl, good luck with that. She says, I'm almost certain you compare my channel and what I've said to your client, my case is in good standing. Okay, let me just read that again. She says, this is all one sentence. All right. I am almost certain you compare my channel and what I've said to your client, my case is in good standing.
Back and forth, email banter with the lawyer.
You're going to tell me
the lawyer
that
he's
somebody
wrong.
who writes like a first grader wrote the document that we just reviewed. X for doubt on that. She says, yes, her case is in good standing, question mark, yes. Oh God. She says, I understand the elements. I've expressed the elements in my complaint and provided the evidence to support those proper and legitimate claims. If you were going to write me to continue to harass me on her behalf, you've got a big problem. In my mind, I thought, big problem, bucko, because she'd be the type to like say something like that. Yeah, this isn't Ashley's furniture, Betty. Okay, are you okay? This is not Ashley's furniture. It doesn't work. That doesn't work here. She's like, and I'd be more concerned about other more formal repercussions when I would be then, okay, another sentence, okay? This is what she wrote. This is all one sentence. Y'all, this is the part that tripped me up. I had to record myself about 20,000 times because I kept messing up. This is what she says. If you were going to write me to continue to harass me on her behalf, you've got a big problem, and I'd be more concerned about other more formal repercussions than I would be a lawsuit from me. So I couldn't even get it through that time without like tripping at the end. What is that? Holy sentence, Batman. Like, this is crazy. She says, I'm unsure what your client has told you about me, but I will not allow you to continue her harassment upon me through emails because you're her attorney.
Cool, Casey. Tell everybody I said thank you. I really
Betty,
appreciate all.
This is what happens when you're in a lawsuit, dum-dum. You have to communicate with the lawyer, or generally it's looked upon more favorable by the judge if you communicate with the opposing counsel. Of course, he's going to email you. How did you think he was going to get information to you? A carrier pigeon? Huh? Tablets? How did you think this was going to go down? With a rider on a horse? On parchment paper? Oh my God. She says, furthermore, if this level of harassment continues from your office, I will be filing your demand letter in the court for the judge to take judicial notice of. Girl, please do that. Please. That will be a whole fucking other video, and I would love to do a dramatic reading of that Karen-ness. That would be amazing. Please do that. Please. Now, if you would, she says, now, if you would like to speak to me and address me with some professionalism, I am happy to work with you on this matter, as I am opposing counsel by way of me representing myself.
With some people this stupid and ignorant.
Oh my God. And she says, again, I have stated legitimate claims and I have met the elements of those claims. And since it appears that you do not wish to work with me, I'm going to demand that you discontinue communication with me until we are before the judge to discuss this very matter. Respectfully yours. And then I typed the Bullhorn Karen. So earlier in the document, remember when she was saying that she never said that? Okay. She's the one who said, quote, I demand that you discontinue communication with me until we are before the judge to discuss this very matter. Wow. That's going to piss the judge off so bad. I can't wait. Yes, Mr. Maven. She's like, respectfully yours. That's my favorite part. She did by attaching this exhibit. That's what she was going, LOL, tattling on the lawyer to the judge. Yes, that's exactly what she's doing. She's trying to bring a tattletale to the judge. And the judge is going to be like, okay. All right. Duly noted. And so then after she demands that he no longer communicate with her, then he writes her back and says, Bullhorn Betty, we note your request that we discontinue communication with you. We will honor your request. However, please note that we will, of course, still serve you with filings as required by applicable rules and law. Sincerely. Again, still not doing anything other than just being professional and doing his job. Then she says, thank you for your response. Betty, moron. This proves that you acknowledged what you said. You acknowledged that he was going to stop communicating with you, and you acknowledged that that was what you wanted, and you thanked him for it. Yikes. And then, of course, like, what is that, like 20 minutes later, after she said she didn't want to communicate with him anymore. She's done, right? Just like she said, she's done with the drama. I'm never mentioning the haters again. What does she do 20, 30 minutes later? This is what she says. Lastly, I wanted to let you know, when I initially responded to your letter, the defaming and untrue statements I was referring to are those of your clients, not of you. I was expressing that she's even lying to you about the information about me, and it was clear in your demand letter. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. About you, about me, and it was clear in your demand letter. Girl, you need to work on your sentence structure. Oh my God. Then lastly, she says, so the insulting response from you was not well taken. Wow. Okay. Yikes. Exactly. But it was categorically false, right? It was categorically false that she would have told him to discontinue communication with her. But yet here it is in black and white. And she is the one who posted it. And because it's public, now all of you are fine. All of these fine folks in my audience get to also laugh. Oh God, this is great. And that was that document. So funny. Oh, geez. And I'd have to say, like, because she is pro se and she is representing herself, this is the only time where it's appropriate for her to speak in third person. I'm just saying. All the other times, it's weird, Betty. It's really weird, okay? I hope Queen's lawyer brings up one off BHB uniform t-shirts in case she forgets hers. Maybe the Tube Top Tammy can hand paint and copy of BHB's in case she forgets that too. Oh, this is great. And it's really cringe, for real. Yep. So what did you guys think about that? I mean, okay, so let me try this again now that, 1 second. Close that. So now that that's closed, let me see if there's an echo.
Now, if you would like to speak to me and address me with some professionalism.
Did that echo? Did you read the order of protection? I did read that today. I was like, whoa. Isn't that great? I like this one too.
Your professionalism is disgusting.
So great. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I was going to read her emails and be like, Bullhorn Betty is intimidated by the lawyer. The lawyer was so mean to me. He hurt my fifis. He used words like propound and foregoing. I didn't know what it meant. Yeah, so I put sick next to it because I don't know what that means either. When I see people using it quotes, and so I thought I'd just put it in there, you know, because I'm trying my best, okay? Like, I'm pro se. And she's got this lawyer who's like legit, and she makes a lot of money, so he's definitely not like, you know, one of those guys on the commercials that say, have you been hurt? No, he's not one of those. He's a real one. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so I was thinking about doing something like that. Oh my God. Days of our YouTube streams. I don't understand why she thought it was a good idea. Because whoever helped her write that, and the other 7 things that she posted, whoever helped her and said, yeah, girl, you do you, girl.
Let me stop this one. What we're going to do now is go on to the next one. Let me see if I can find that one, because I want to get through. There's a lot of these. Betty is just funny. But let's see. Now here, the next one. This was this, okay. Let's get into this one. Let's see. I'll slow this down to just a little bit, but
Bullhorn Betty filed 8 different things in one day at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. One of them begging the judge to go to all of her hearings via Zoom instead of in person. 2 days after that, she starts traveling. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. We need a Betty music video. Yes, I actually started working on one a while ago, and I kind of hit a creative wall. And when that happens, it's best that I kind of walk away and then come back with fresh eyes. So we'll see. I would like to get it done, but for some reason, it's just not as smooth as some of the other songs. But yes, I am still wanting to do that. Thank you. Let's Go Brandon, member for 1 month. Welcome to the Dumpster Fire. Sandra Miller, member for 7 months. Thank you so much. Welcome, guys. So, wow. Okay, so let's get right into it because there is quite a bit that we're going to cover today. Okay, the first thing that we're going to cover, and I can do that for you too. So this right here, this is the notice to voluntarily dismiss Heels. So finally, after all of these months, she's finally deciding to dismiss Heels from the lawsuit. However, the hearing, I believe, is not until September 27th. So between now and then, Heels is still on the lawsuit, which is kind of ridiculous. Kelly Ford, member for 3 months. BHB is disgusting. Yes.
Because Betty don't know what the hell she's
how is our
doing.
favorite 600-pound prostitutery? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Hey, what's up, Eric? Yeah, so she finally turned this in.
Thank you, Casey.
2:51 a.m. And it just basically says exactly, what we thought it would normally say. It would say basically, the court has no jurisdiction to even have her in this lawsuit to begin with. So she wants her dismissed. And here's the thing. She wants it dismissed entirely without prejudice. So that means essentially she wants to have the right to sue her possibly in the future. So that's interesting. That's basically all that one is. It's just her saying that she wants heels voluntarily dismissed as a defendant. Yeah. So let's go. This one right here, I wanted to go over too before we go over the motion that she filed a motion to dismiss the counterclaim. Like, girl, stop. Chap Test, member for 5 months. Thank you so much. Hope, member for 5 months. Thank you. 4 days left for the PayPal fundraiser. Yes, thank you. I'm going to pin that. You do not have to, but if you would like, there is the link for the PayPal poll for her counterclaim costs.
And I've still
she already raised the money to defend herself against Bullhorn Betty, so that one ended, and she started a new one to pay for the counterclaim for all of the things that she's had to endure
legal fund
Betty
going
during this time.
But I will. And if
Betty's
she does,
worn out.
I will post it on the channel.
Y'all are killing me.
Community tab.
Nana L, thank you so much. Welcome to the dumpster fire. Wait, so this is a new motion. So this is still, these are the three more of the 8 that we didn't get to on Thursday. It's so much. Deepak, member for 14 months. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can never type a message in yours. Oh, I don't know why that is. I'm so sorry. I mean, honestly, you don't have to, please, you don't have to give me money if you don't want to. You can just tag my name and I'll reach comment. Betty is showing mercy on the bug. So this is one of the things that she filed. This was filed at 3:07 a.m. in the morning. It's always interesting when she files them. But so this is her request for a telephonic virtual hearings. So it says, come now, plaintiff Bullhorn Betty, pro se, files this request for a telephonic virtual hearing and that the court enters an order allowing appearance by telephone for hearings scheduled in the case on the grounds as follows. That's weird. Why would she not want? So she's not even asking for Zoom here. She's wanting it by telephone? Why? I just noticed that. She says, I am presently residing in blank Florida and travel to hearings would be great. So this is what I noticed, right? With this particular one and the the motion to dismiss the counterclaim, they're back to writing kind of the way that the original lawsuit was written. Like, you can still tell that this is not her normal writing. However, there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of grammatical errors, a lot of things that are added that do not make sense. And this is one of those sentences where instead of saying traveling to hearings would create a financial hardship, she wrote, and travel to hearings would create a financial hardship. BHB scared. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, I think she's scared, but not for the reason why she's claiming. Did everyone see the comment MGL left on the video? Yes, disavowing BHB. So yes, we're going to get to that next because that was crazy. Girl, ask you why I say, of course, she would want it by telephone. It's her natural Karen element screaming into phones. What's crazy, because I guess I just assumed that she was wanting to do Zoom, but that's not what this says. This says she wants to only go by telephone, which is weird because she's the one who started all of this, and then she doesn't even want to show up. Like, is that important for her to sue for $150,000? But it's not important for her to actually, like, I don't know, at least Zoom call it. That's crazy to me. So yeah, that's basically what she's asking for, is to do the hearings by telephone, claiming that because she lives in Florida, traveling to hearings would create a financial hardship. Yet, what did she do 2 days later? She has been, just this week alone, she was in Tennessee, then she went to Maryland, and then has already started talking about traveling to South Carolina, Idaho. There was someplace else. And then she was also talking about possibly going to New York. And I'm like, okay, if you can go to Florida to Idaho or Florida to New York, girl, stop. You can definitely go to Illinois, considering this whole lawsuit to begin with, this lawsuit, that this whole thing is supposed to be about her business, her livelihood, her company, her media company, her branding, all of this stuff. But she doesn't want to bother to show up. It's kind of weird.
With a lawsuit like this, you would want to show up.
It would be virtual. Zoom would be virtual. Yes, I agree with you. Business, but it's weird because I don't know. Maybe I'm
I don't know. This
off here, but I don't know. For me, I would think that it would say Zoom and not telephone. But maybe that's like the correct way of saying it in a lawsuit. I don't know. But I just found that very interesting. Who said something? MGL stated in her Kick Live last week that she told Betty to stop and end this. Interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. So here's the thing. So somebody sent me this. Okay. And this is a minute to sobriety's video. I'm going to put a link if somebody could grab a link to that. It's a great video. Everybody should watch it, first of all. But underneath the video, I noticed that Molly Golightly had left a comment. So I went there and took a screenshot myself. And this is what it said. And let me just be very clear. Okay. I clicked on the account and it took me directly to her URL. She had, in addition to the 2 channels that YouTube terminated a couple months ago, she did have a 3rd channel that was not terminated because it's completely separate. And she had never done any TOS violations on that channel. That channel used to be called something life coaching or whatever. She would post videos of her going to Greece and other videos of like her dog. And that was 100% her channel. So evidently she's changed her profile. She's changed the name and all of that, but the URL still stays the same when you do that no matter what. So this, I did confirm this is in fact her account. And so this is what she says underneath Menace's video, where he's talking about the fact that
Casey,
Bullhorn Betty is now trying to drag 3 of her BFFs into this
stuff
power
like that to travel
and so
around.
Molly says, quote, I am Molly Golightly.
Brings a
I am not
lawsuit against
participating in this
someone
case. I no
trying to
longer
get
want contact with Betty. Quote, I was sent
from
this
a
video
single
from
mom,
Laura. I'm not following
and
this
you can't
craziness
show up?
anymore, all because she's being
Please.
quote unquote talked about. If that's a lot of shade, especially the part where she put, talked about in quotes. Like, yikes. I kind of feel dumb now, but I never really bought into the heels was added just to dox her. But now after seeing what happened, the timeline and the dismissal is 100% clear. BHB actually did that. Yes, I do agree. I think the only reason why she added heels to the website was 100% to dox her and harass her. That's my opinion. She knew from the very beginning that you can't sue someone from another state and expect Illinois to accept it when the person doesn't live in Illinois. Like, none of that makes sense.
Illinois has no jurisdiction.
I mean, it's clear to me from the very beginning, and it's sad because she had apparently already been doxxed like years and years before this, but this was just Bullhorn Betty just being mean. Let's see. Zoom for purposes of court has been referred to as telephonic something. I think BHB was going for that, but as usual, she missed. That makes sense. Okay. Well, still, I don't know if the judge is actually going to accept the Zoom call in this case, because she has been doing a lot of things that is going to piss off the judge. And so it makes me think, it's up to him, honestly. In the end, he could go either way. And even if she does get Zoom call instead of being there in person, the case is still not going to probably go the way that she's hoping, because this is not good. And they haven't even gone to their first court date. And there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and none of it makes her look good to the judge. Says Laura also dragged the living daylights out of Betty when these ridiculous filings dropped. LOL. Betty is panicking. Don't try and get your friends sued just because you feel lonely. Yes. And we are going to be going over that right now because goodness gracious. All right. Let me go back to I was just reading that earlier. So we're going to go over that because that is included in this. So this is essentially what she did. She basically took bits and pieces from the actual lawyer, QueenBee's lawyer, when QueenBee's lawyer sent her a demand for the bill of particulars. Y'all remember when we went over that? It was very neat, concise. It was like half the length of this. Okay. And it was very clear. It was very easy to understand. Well, she didn't want to turn in a bill of particulars. So then she filed a motion to not have to do the bill of particulars. And I noticed a pattern that these 8 things that she filed all at the same time in the middle of the night on the 15th, it seemed like she was copying a lot of what he wrote in those documents, because the original lawsuit did not sound like this. It was a disaster. It was such a mess. And it seems like she's now just sort of copying phrases that he uses, certain vocabulary words. Like she's starting to repeat what she saw him write in the stuff that he's posting. Okay, fine. That's kind of smart. But the problem with that is that it ends up making her look like an even bigger fool, because she decided that she shouldn't have to do a bill of particulars because she's special, I guess. But then she doesn't actually say the word or the phrase bill of particulars, but that's essentially what she's asking for in this, is for QueenBee to do a bill of particulars. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't get it. But in this as well, which is the biggest part, I think, is the part where she drags Dolly Vision, JLR, and MGL into this mess. And again, the original lawsuit, she dragged Dolly Vision into that as one of the major pillars of her lawsuit. And without him, there really isn't much. And even with him, I won't get into it, but like, she's just wrong here. She's just lying flat out. And I hope the judge will see it that way. We'll see. But it's weird to me that she has friends, and these are supposed to be like her besties on here, right? And yet she can't stop dragging them in to her mess. Court is not YouTube drama. Like, this is legal documents. And it's crazy to me that she's like, oh yeah, they're my friends, and then tries to include them in this that could potentially get them wrapped up legally, could affect their businesses, their channels, their real life. And it's crazy to me that this is how she treats her friends. What? Why would you be friends with somebody like this? So the beginning of this basically gives the background that it says Bullhorn Betty served QueenBee with a complaint alleging defamation, tortious interference, and prospective economic advantage, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Okay, right. So we went over that already, and it's nonsense. So here she says, Bullhorn Betty has alleged, among other issues, that QueenBee has conspired with, communicated with other through private chats, such as Discord and other similar sites, to elicit help with QueenBee's campaign of harassment, cyberstalking, bullying, and intimidation to receive financial compensation to damage BHB personally, professionally, and financially in an effort to remove BHB from the YouTube platform. That is one massive run-on sentence. But holy conspiracy theory, Batman. So she starts off her motion with the conspiracy theory. Why? And you will notice a pattern here. It's a lot of redundancy. It's a lot of copying the same phrases and things that the lawyer was using in the last motion against her. And then it's a lot of trying to, once again, what the lawyer was talking about in the last thing that he posted. And that is, she continues to write these documents as if she's arguing instead of actually stating facts and explaining. It's wild that somebody who claims to be a quote unquote expert in the law and has so much expertise in this kind of stuff, yet can't actually write a counter to anything, can't write any of this. It's crazy. She reminds me of the orange Jesus. I don't know what that is. You have to explain that to me. She's uneducated, bunch of BS. They will see right through her. I mean, I have several mods who are licensed attorneys, and they are all telling me this is not going to go well for her, because this is only one of multiple things that she has been doing. In the last stream that we did, we saw where she lied multiple times, like flat out blatant lies, and then later incriminates herself in the next page. And it's like, girl, you can't lie to a judge. You can't lie in court documents in court. Like, that's insane to me. But I don't get it. Like, when she lied about the lawyer saying that she never told him to discontinue communication with her, and then she posted the copy of the email at the very bottom showing that she did in fact say, I demand you discontinue communicating with me until we're in front of a judge. Like, oh my gosh. Like, so just the fact that she would even say that, it's going to make him mad. And then the fact that she's now lying about it later, like, I do not pity the judge. I actually feel sorry for him, because he's going to have to deal with her. I bet BHB didn't remember that QB's lawyer is looking into the metadata of her documents too. Oop. Yikes. Yep. I mean, she got a good lawyer. What can I say? I like him a lot. So yeah, she starts off the motion to dismiss the counterclaim by stating conspiracy theory, claiming that QueenBee is running some kind of enterprise on the Discords in private chats to remove her from YouTube. This statement, although incredibly false, okay, but two, and more importantly, this has nothing to do with whether or not the counterclaim should be dismissed or not. Nothing at all. Things are popping off today. Mel is suing Upchurch too. Yes, I saw that. I am so excited for Mel, because what Upchurch said about him, that is defamation. And I am so happy that he has decided to do that, because I think, and I've said this many times, until these families or these content creators start suing people, like legit lawsuits where there's actual damages, unless these families and these YouTubers start actually taking these people to task legally, people like Ryan Upchurch are going to continue to do what he's been doing. Like, he's already being sued by someone else too. So he's being sued by the family of that girl that unfortunately passed away. And now he's being sued by a content creator. So, I mean, hey, you know what? 21 million. I thought it was 13.5 plus fees, but maybe it's more. I don't know. Last time I saw it was 13.5 million. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Do you really think the judge will look at this the way we hope? I don't have the answer to that. However, lawyers are telling me that there's certain things that she's doing that will in fact piss the judge off. And you piss the judge off, and he will not give you as much leeway as you would have gotten otherwise. So we'll see. But there's multiple things that she's done just so far, and they haven't even gone to their first court date yet. So yikes. She goes on to say, on or about July 28th, 2023, QueenBee filed counterclaims. Why she put that in quotations, I'm not sure, and served those upon Bullhorn Betty. The counterclaims are littered with incoherent chatter and how QueenBee loathes Bullhorn Betty's career choices, business practices, and BHB associates, but failed to indicate what specifically BHB has done to QueenBee to cause damage, how those actions BHB allegedly committed have damaged her personally, professionally, or financially. So this is definitely a stolen paragraph. Some of this is stolen from the demand of the Bill of Particulars. And again, I find this very amazing that so she claims that his demand for the Bill of Particulars was quote unquote incoherent nonsense. Remember, we reviewed that. She said that it didn't make sense and it was not well written. Therefore, she doesn't have to do it, right? And here she is copying word for word at times his exact sentences. So when he said it, apparently it was incoherent. But when she does it, it's working for her, I guess. Oh, this is great. So then she goes on to say, somehow the nexus between the background statements alleged and the claims raised are skewed, confusing, and lacking factual information upon which a response can be formulated. Once again, I've seen a couple of people in the chat already say this. She's already arguing. She's trying to argue here, and that's not appropriate for this particular thing. Like she should be talking about why the counterclaim as a whole should be dismissed, not try to argue more of her lawsuit. And there's many times where she is conflating what QueenBee is countersuing her for and what she originally sued QueenBee for. And she's mixing details of those two things together. So I don't envy the judge because he's going to have to sort through all this nonsense. She says, BHB alleges QueenBee has filed to state a cause of action on all three counts, needs pleadings to be made more defined and certain, failed to attach any supporting documents to the counterclaims, contains irrelevant information that should be stricken, and failed to add necessary parties to claim, among other deficiencies outlined in more detail below. So here, this paragraph right here, she pretty much stole some of this from the lawyer as well, because that was what the demand for Bill of Particulars was asking. The who, went, wow, and how, and why, and all these things, to be concise, to be what it says, particular about what it is she's actually suing QueenBee for. But here, this last part of this, add necessary parties to the claim among other deficiencies, outlined in more detail below. So what she's saying here, and this is what she goes on to say, because she quotes a whole bunch of she cites a bunch of cases and lists the reasons why things can be, counterclaims can be dismissed. But she really hones in on one section. I'll get to that in a second. So this is what she ends up doing. What she's essentially saying here is that, hey, judge, it's not fair that QueenBee decided to counterclaim me. So I think that you should dismiss her counterclaim until or if QueenBee decides to sue my three best friends. Why she thinks the judge is going to be like, you know what, Bullhorn Betty, you're swell. I agree. QueenBee, I dismiss your counterclaim until you sue the people that Bullhorn Betty says that you should be suing. If anybody thinks that that's what the judge is going to do, I don't know what to tell you. That's ridiculous. Judges don't, The judge can't force QueenBee to sue someone she doesn't want to sue. And when B. Tim and some other people were telling me about this on Thursday, I thought they were joking, but they were 100% correct. Not only that, but if you go further down, I'll go ahead and read this because it's more explaining how QueenBee should not get a bill of particulars for Bullhorn Betty's lawsuit, but Bullhorn Betty should get a bill of particulars from QueenBee's lawsuit. I would love to see what judge would possibly claim BHB as her top paralegal, borderline illegal lawyer. I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence that she actually worked for a lawyer. The only thing that she claimed that she did was she was an office manager / paralegal for a law firm that did foreclosure or real estate law. They didn't do criminal or anything else. So I haven't seen any evidence of that. You're right. Betty doesn't have the option to back off slowly or on her own terms anymore because of what she has pulled. Hearing set for September now, and she can't stop all of this because she wants to. That's correct. It's too late now. The original letter that the lawyer sent Bullhorn Betty, it was the first letter that he sent her ever, never communicated with her before then. The one that she said, oh, now the lawyer's harassing me because he sent me an email. You know that one? In that email, he told her, he said, listen, I'm going to defend my client. You should probably get a lawyer. We're giving you the chance to dismiss this so that we don't have to counterclaim. And she said basically what she said, and I read the emails last time. There's a reason it's called countersuit. It's countering the original lawsuit. Yep, that's correct. She did crimes while doing that work, so she's qualified. Yeah, I actually did a stream on that. That was crazy. I had no idea she had done that until I found the court documents. I was like, ooh, that's not good. So she goes on to say, she says, here, QueenBee cannot be successful on the counterclaims due to QueenBee's deficiencies contained therein, rendering the entire document legally insufficient and devoid of the necessary elements along other legal challenges and deficiencies. Okay. Again, she's like arguing here. And then she says she labeled this, the pleading be made more definite and certain, failed to state a cause of action. And she says, in reviewing the sufficiency of the complaint, we accept as true all well-pleaded facts and all reasonable inferences that may be drawn from those facts. And it gives the citations. We also construe the allegations and the complaint in light of most favorable to the plaintiff, another citation. Thus, a cause of action should not be dismissed pursuant to section, and then more citations. She says the purpose of, and then cites the law, is to test the legal sufficiency of the complaint. The critical inquiry is whether the allegations of the complaint, when construed in the light most favorable to QueenBee, are sufficient to establish a cause of action upon which relief may be granted. So again, she's copying. This is like copy paste. I saw somebody else say that, but yeah, this is a lot of copy pasting here. And it's weird because there's like sections where you can tell she probably have copy pasted into this. And then the sentence before and after are clearly her writing, because it's very, very, very different. I'd love to read a psyche eval on the stranger. Yikes. Is this a joke? Yes, I think it is. You would think it is a joke, but no, Bullhorn Betty is dead serious. Now, it is a joke in that it's crazy and ridiculous, and it was just done to harass QueenBee to begin with, which is part of what the counterclaim is about. This says, also, QueenBee must allege facts rather than conclusions to support a cause of action. So again, she's just copying what QueenBee's lawyer has already stated. In accordance with QueenBee's counterclaim served upon Bullhorn Betty on or about July 27, 2023, it is alleged that Bullhorn Betty is abusing the process. No, it's abuse of okay. Yeah, this is definitely, that's a Bullhorn Betty sentence. Abusing the process of this honorable court. In my opinion, she is. When you are making frivolous lawsuits, person after person after person, that's abuse of process. However, QueenBee fails to allege with clear and convincing language how Bullhorn Betty has abused the process of this court in this matter. And that is straight up from the lawyer. So it's very interesting. It's like the same thing that the lawyer was saying that she claimed was nonsense. She's now using the exact same sentences. Can we drop QueenBee's link for donation support? Yes, it's actually the pinned comment at the top of the chat. The judge should order a psych eval for Betty. Oh my gosh. Didn't MGL say to waste the money for Queen's lawyer, drag it out? I mean, yeah. I mean, I saw the clip where MGL was talking about that. But again, that was before Bullhorn Betty put her name in a motion. I would feel some type of way too. I'm not defending MGL because that was a really terrible thing to say. And I do not agree with that. And that in itself is abuse of process. So there you go. Says QueenBee fails to meet the clear and specific elements necessary to state a cause of action upon which relief may be granted with respect to the abusive process claimed by QueenBee. Redundancy and copied from the lawyer. Based on QueenBee's counterclaims, QueenBee alleges that BHB on a previous occasion allegedly abused the process in another court at some unclear and uncertain date, time, and location. Okay, see, now she's not being honest. I'm pretty sure that when we went over the demand for the bill of particulars, he was very, very clear. So again, and then she adds, it is not clear or concise. It was not clear or concise. She says, QueenBee claim for abusive process is based on BHB's alleged filing of an action in another case at some other location and time. There is no reference to this other, in quotations, action except for unsubstantiated website. What? No, girl. With no apparent connection to QueenBee's claims? Bullhorn Betty, are you kidding me? A county clerk, like government website? That's not an unsubstantiated website. That's looking at a court docket. Wow. Okay. Interesting. She says there were no supporting documents attached to the counterclaims as a reference point for BHB to review and formulate a response. Okay. Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate that. It's a mood channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is screaming a mental disorder. Your guess is as good as mine. She cannot comprehend what she writes. She does seem to have a lot of problems with parsing out what people say. I'm telling you, this is going to frustrate the judge. It says, moreover, appears QueenBee is rendering legal conclusions as opposed to alleging facts. Oh my gosh. QueenBee alleges because Bullhorn Betty has abused the process in the past, she must be doing it now, and that the motion is insufficient to support QueenBee's cause of action for the purposes of abuse of process count. Hey, Bullhorn Betty, that's called establishing a pattern. This is what I'm talking about. She's not understanding what the lawyer is actually like filing in these motions. He's not saying that you are responsible for XYZ. He's saying this is a pattern of behavior for you. He's not saying that QueenBee had anything to do with those past litigious nonsense that you did, but he's saying that this is a pattern. I cannot believe this is somebody who supposedly has an AA in paralegal studies. How did she even graduate high school? Says QueenBee alleges that because QueenBee believes that Bullhorn Betty has abused the process sometime in the past, it automatically provides an avenue for QueenBee to claim abuse of process without alleging that the necessary elements to support a cause of action are claimed therein, which is the subject of this lawsuit. Oh my God, Betty. I cannot believe she's not getting it. Wow. Okay. Wow. I'll let her figure that one out because I'm not going to help her out. Did she just admit she abused it in those other times? It kind of sounds like it. I mean, that's kind of the impression that she's leaving me here. Is that, oh, who cares if I abuse the process in that case over there? It has nothing to do with QueenBee, so she shouldn't be able to bring that up in her counterclaim. Girl, what? No, that's a thing. That is a thing here. Again, it's establishing a pattern. So, citing more cases. Then she goes on and starts in bold print now. Do you think the judge can throw this out based on the fact that Betty isn't responding to the motions correctly or force her to get an addy? I don't know. I don't think the judge is just going to knock this out on its face. I think that my guess, and I could be completely wrong here. My guess is because she's pro se, the judge is going to be like, no, you need to rewrite this and then give her like another deadline. And then if she doesn't do that, then he may dismiss it. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be dismissed right away. I could be wrong, and I would love to be wrong in that case, but there's just so much here, and she keeps filing one thing after another, after another, after another, and it's crazy. It's just not like stuff that's not appropriate, that doesn't make sense. It just really doesn't make sense. She says that QueenBee has failed to state, one, what ulterior purpose or motive BHB has in this matter. Poor Betty. What? So now you're mad because QueenBee is not a psychic. What? What does that have anything to do with this? You're mad that QueenBee failed to state what ulterior motive or purpose BHB has in this matter. What? And 2, QueenBee has failed to establish or show which acts BHB has used in this legal process. Why did she emphasize that? Which is not proper in the regular prosecution of the proceedings. Oh my gosh. The judge is either going to bang his head against the wall or he's going to laugh until his sides hurt. Thank you, Good Egg. She did state that clearly, though, LOL, to harass, dox, and financially drain. Literally stated in the counterclaim, she just ignores it all. Right, good point. In fact, it was, like, again, very clear and very concise. I've already reviewed it. You can go back to that stream. But yeah, she actually was very clear. I'm not sure why QueenBee has to be psychic and explain what BHB has in her head and why that has anything to do with why she shouldn't have to deal with the counter. Again, this is about Bullhorn Betty asking the judge to throw out the counterclaim. This is about the counterclaim. But she keeps bringing up stuff from the original lawsuit, which is not the counterclaim. Oh boy. I still don't know why she emphasized those. And then she's like, emphasis added. Well, duh, you're the one who wrote it. Okay. Says QueenBee must meet both elements to state as a cause of action.
I agree,
and
she has mother,
1 and 2 is
a sister,
and then she put the period outside the
excuse me, maybe more siblings.
If it was or, QueenBee would only need to meet one of the elements necessary. Are you kidding me? You're going to teach a judge the difference between or and
as well.
You really think that you needed to spell that out? And something tells me that that's not what the law says. Just a sneaking suspicion, my opinion. I don't think the law is saying what she's claiming it's saying here. It's like that line in Happily Ever After. You keep saying that word. Doesn't mean what you think it does. Says QueenBee has basically only alleged that BHB filed legal proceedings for malevolent purposes sometime in the past. That's not at all what it said. At all, actually. This is not sufficient. Okay. Why did she say has basically only alleged? I've never heard that in a court document. Yeah, judge. So she basically said this. I'm pretty sure Princess Bride. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I totally butchered that quote. It's from the Princess Bride. Inconceivable. A judge might be so irritated at BHB, he will make her be there, in my opinion. That is a definite possibility. That's a definite possibility. Because, if she hadn't done any of this, they probably would say, yeah, you can do Zoom call, no problem. Now I'm thinking she's got a 50-50 shot here. I think it would be funny if he made her go there in person. Let's see. It goes on to say, it says, QueenBee, basically only alleged. It's so funny. Who talks like that to a judge? That BHB, I said that already. And it says, in fact, Illinois courts have generally taken a very restrictive view of the tort of abuse of process. Betty, you should pay attention to that. Just saying. And then she cites something. And then she emphasized another quote in a parentheses. Plaintiff failed to state a cause of action for abusive process, and the trial court did not err when it dismissed this claim. Okay, Betty, but she was very clear about everything that she was asking for. HB tries hard to convince people she is super intelligent and smarter than everyone else while failing miserably at it, only she doesn't see it. She's going to see it after she has to deal with this judge. And here's one thing that I'm very curious about. So if he's not ruling about whether she can use Zoom or not, if he's not ruling about that till September, does that mean that she has to go there in person in September and then from that point on, she can do Zoom? If anybody knows that in court and knows that in my chat, that would be great because I am not sure about that. Because I was like, wait a second, she's going to want to do Zoom for the hearing in September, but she has to go in there in person. Is that right? I'll wait for some of y'all to answer. In my opinion, I think that if she was allowed a Zoom call, then she would record or live stream. That's interesting. I tend to agree with that. I believe so. Wow. I guess we'll see, right? We shall see. It says, it is unclear to BHB what the cause of action upon which relief may be sought and or granted. Moreover, lacking the necessary information bars BHB from being able to provide an answer or identify any potential affirmative defenses BHB may have or assert. Therefore, QueenBee has not met the necessary elements to maintain this count, abusive process for failure to state a cause of action, and for the pleadings to be made more definite and certain. But the thing is that she did actually flat out say exactly what it was about. Oh boy. I wonder if Betty will tell him he's wrong and he knows the law. Oh boy. To be a fly on that wall. BHB is writing these documents as though QueenBee wrote her own documents. She doesn't seem to understand that she is basically saying that QueenBee's lawyer doesn't know how to lawyer. Right. This is the same person who claimed that the lawyer was now harassing her by sending her an email to communicate with her for like normal processes within a lawsuit, and told him, hey, I demand that you cease communication with me until we're standing before a judge. That email alone could possibly make the judge say, you know what? I will make you stand in front of me. No Zoom call. That's what I'm hoping. The judge should grant or deny her request before the September hearing. Okay, thank you for answering me. A hearing is not needed for the judge to decide on that. Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. So I guess he will decide before that. This is an awful lot just to get a look at QueenBee in person. Yeah, that's the thing. QueenBee has a lawyer. So Bullhorn Betty will find out. Count 2, she says, for the defamation per se, she says, to state a claim for defamation, a plaintiff must allege facts showing that 1, the defendant made a false statement about the plaintiff, 2, the defendant made an unprivileged publication of that statement to a third party, and 3, the publication caused damages. Here's the thing. So like this third part right here, based on how the lawyer wrote it, doesn't have to be there. So that's 1. Second is that number 1 and 2 is actually facts. Like she did, I've seen the clip now probably 20,000 times. She 100% accused QueenBee of something that never happened and then said it on a live stream, said it in other people's chats, got her friends to say it on their channels, and it spread from there. That is 100% what she did. I've seen the clip 1,000 times. We have all seen the clip where Bullhorn Betty is saying those disgusting things about QueenBee. It's categorically false. And Betty is still sitting here trying to defend it. It says Illinois considers the following 5 categories of statements as defamatory per se. 1, words that impute a person has committed a crime. Betty, you're already at number 1. Okay, so check that. You did that. Words that impute a person is infected with a loathsome communicable disease. Words that impute a person is unable to perform or lacks integrity in performing his or her employment duties. 4, words that impute a person lacks the ability or otherwise prejudices that person in her or his profession. And 5, words that impute a person has engaged in adultery or fornication. But Betty, you did number 1 here right off the bat. You accused her of a crime that she never committed, was never arrested for, was never convicted of, and you sit here on a live stream and say it over and over and over again. She goes on to say, although a complaint for defamation per se need not set forth the allegedly defamatory words in hic verba, I believe, the substance of the statement must be pled with sufficient precision and particularity, using the lawyer's sentences again, as to permit initial judicial review of its defamatory content. Then she goes on to say precision and particularity are also necessary so that Bullhorn Betty may properly formulate an answer and identify any potential affirmative defenses. Betty, this is what the lawyer was asking you to do, and you said that it was harassing you. But you can put that same language, the same exact things in this, and it's okay? That doesn't make sense. QueenBee contends that BHB made false statements about QueenBee on or about March 2023, and she did, on a live stream in front of thousands of people. Okay, she absolutely did do that. However, QueenBee does not plead those facts with particularity. Oh my gosh, Betty. Cart before the horse, my dear. There are 3 elements QueenBee must meet to state a cause of action for defamation per se. QueenBee has failed to meet all the elements necessary to state a cause of action upon which relief may be sought or granted for BHB to formulate a response or to ascertain potential affirmative defenses BHB may have or assert. Wow. So again, she is just more arguing instead of getting to the point. She just went for days saying horrible things about Queen, and her subs are going along with it. Yep, there are people who still think that those things are true, and they are not, because Bullhorn Betty started those rumors.
Yes.
Why is she making a legal argument in her
baffles
response?
the hell
This
out
is
of
not the
me.
place to make her case. I completely
People who
agree.
are
It's
supporting
pretty
this
crazy to
behavior
me
from
that
her.
she's doing that.
It just blows my
I
damn
think that she
mind.
would have a horrible time finding a lawyer who would take her case. I also agree with that, because they're going to look at all of it on both sides, and they're going to be like, "Ooh, yeah, you already you already ruined the cookie dough." I'm not saving my name on that. Not only does she state it with particularity, the counterclaim contained your actual direct verbatim quotes, Betty, LOL. That's also true. So I don't know how more particular Betty is looking for when somebody is using her actual direct quotes. What's more, a DNA sample? Like, I'm asking for a friend. She goes on to say, for QueenBee to maintain this cause of action, QueenBee shall meet certain elements to support the cause of action, which QueenBee failed to do for the grounds, stated as follows. And then it gets kind of weird, okay? It gets really weird. So she says, 1, QueenBee contends Bullhorn Betty made a false statement about QueenBee on or about March 23rd, but fails to state with particularity how those statements were false. Betty, she listed your exact quote in that section of the counterclaim. The time to argue whether Queen is right or not is the court. That's the judge. That's later on, okay? You're not to argue in your motion. Wow. Then it gets weird. Yeah, you're right. It's been weird this whole time. She says QueenBee failed to attach any supporting documentation to the counterclaims for BHB to reference in to reference or in support of these elements, which is subject of this lawsuit. Again, she's not understanding what this kind of document is. This is wild. I guarantee you that BHB really thinks that the judge is going to side with her. She's banking on it, on that happening, and then she will go on her victory tour, LOL. Yeah, it's crazy because she said that, I don't remember which stream it was, but she was bragging. She was like, yeah, these haters, they have no idea what's in store for them, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, girl, you really should be focused on this lawsuit because this is a mess. What she should have done is hired a lawyer.
Let me know if that's a little better
to help her with this, because she has now messed this up to the point where I agree with you guys. I don't think that there's going to be a lawyer who's going to want to come in and deal with the headache here, because he would have to rewrite all the stuff that she did, plus deal with damage control to the judge and the other lawyer by trying to smooth things over for the lies and the yelling at him in emails and stuff. Like, that's crazy. Since we can't be there, we just have to catch her live right after. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows what she'll do? She says, number 2, QueenBee must assert that the communications made by BHB were privileged publications of those statements to a third party. Bullhorn Betty, what do you think a live stream is? Oh my God. That's what they mean by third party. That's what the lawyer was trying to explain to you in that one email when he was talking about third party.
Sometimes.
You took something that was not true. You accused her of a crime
But
she
I might
didn't
have had
commit,
my mic
and then you said it
low
on a
too.
live stream to thousands and thousands of third parties. Your audience, every view on that video, that's a third party, my dear. That's what that means. That's why the lawyer was saying that if you had not, anyway. Wow. How is it that I'm just like an ordinary person that doesn't normally do this type of content? Okay, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. I don't know any of this stuff, okay? And yet I know more than she does. How is that possible when she supposedly went to college for this? Peggy, thank you so much. Tanya G Channel, thank you. I appreciate that.
She didn't go to college for this. If she had, it should have been
hand her his whole action plan prior
better
to court.
worded.
Thank you. Excellent point. So it's a little bit of what she was doing in the last thing that we reviewed, and that is she's mad that the lawyer's not explaining to her what his defense strategy is. I'm sorry, but you're not privy to that. Thank you, Good Egg. She quoted the law, which says the communication must be unprivileged, but 2 paragraphs down, she mixes it up and makes a whole argument that the communication wasn't privileged. Oh my goodness. Wow, fun times. It says QueenBee has made no such assertion within the 4 corners of the counterclaim and has made no reference whatsoever that any statement allegedly made by BHB were privileged in nature or the nature surrounding the information. Oh, Betty, you really did mess that up. Oof, okay. Or the nature surrounding the information, and QueenBee has failed to attach any supporting documents to the counterclaim for BHB to reference or in support of this element. Wow. She is. She's very exhausting. Yep. Well, prior she said she gets the evidence but won't show hers. It doesn't work like that. Good catch. She has zero clue about the law. That is very clear. Reading this, if anybody had any doubt as far as the deficit of knowledge that she actually does have in this subject and or occupation, it's reading these documents. Like this is crazy. It says 3, QueenBee must assert the publication caused damages and what those damages are with particularity. There were no mention of the damage or damages which has caused harm and or damage to QueenBee financially, professionally, and or personally. The counterclaims, now it's counterclaims, make no mention of any damage QueenBee sustained by alleged actions of Bullhorn Betty. Wow. Yeah, she really should have done her homework on what that law actually says. Wow. What's interesting here, oh, she does go into per quad. Okay. I was going to say, because QueenBee is suing her for defamation per quad. Not, okay. Okay, Betty. QueenBee has alleged that some information contained within the counterclaims is upon QueenBee's information and belief. Unlike the facts relating to the allegedly defamatory statements themselves, the facts informing QueenBee's belief will always be within QueenBee's direct knowledge and therefore fully capable of being pled with the requisite precision and particularity. Oh, goodness. Okay. First of all, Bullhorn Betty, there are certain phrases that I've noticed that lawyers will use in lawsuits like this. Okay. And information and belief and preponderance of the evidence, things like that. That's pretty standard. It's pretty standard in these documents that I've been reading. And so the fact that he's using that doesn't mean that it's some special thing. Like, this is very strange. Well, she doesn't necessarily have to prove damages, at least defamation per se doesn't require it. And that's what I was saying before, is like, she keeps saying that she has to prove damages. Where is it that she said damages? Yeah. So it's right. Yeah, right here. She says it must assert the publication caused damages. And that is not, like, this right here, that's not what that means. She doesn't have to prove that part. I know that this right here doesn't either. So I'm not exactly sure what she's talking about here. I am so confused. She's arguing the counterclaim. Shouldn't she be talking about the original claim first? Well, this is not about the original lawsuit. This is about how she was counterclaimed in the middle of her lawsuit. And this is supposed to be her motion to dismiss.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
So she's not supposed to be sitting here arguing about whether the counterclaim is or is not true, or can and cannot be proven. That's for a judge to decide later. This is for her to just simply say, I think that it should be dismissed and why. But this is 16 pages of her trying to argue the case and not doing a very good job of it. I think BHB got her legal education from movie My Cousin Vinny. Maybe. Patricia Sell, thank you so much. BHG, check your email for answers on your question. Oh, okay. I'll do that real quick. If it's defamation per se, that means that damages are assumed because it's so defamatory, do not have to be proved. That is correct. Let's see. If you sent me an email, I did not receive it yet. Even my email is acting weird. I'm not sure. But defamation per quad, yes, damages must be proven. There has not been a judgment, so she cannot use what she is in this. Yeah, like I said, she can't, she's like trying to argue the case here, and it's just not appropriate. Then she goes down and talks about defamation per quad. It said defamation per quad claim is appropriate either where the defamatory character of a statement is not apparent on its face and extrinsic evidence is not necessary to demonstrate its injurious meaning, or where a statement is defamatory on its face but does not fall under one of the categories of statements which are actionable per se. A plaintiff bringing a per quad claim must also plead and prove special damages to recover. Special damages are actual damage of a... Interesting. So she's citing more stuff here. Illinois considers 5 types of untrue statements to be defamatory on their face, so no proof of damages are required. She violated the very first one. I agree with that. Yeah, because she, in fact, again, it goes back to that live stream that she did and subsequent lives and various other things where she defamed Queen. She said something that was categorically false.
That's cool.
And she did it to thousands of third parties publicly on her live stream. She goes on to say, she tries to then argue the difference between per se and per quad. Oh, for fuck's sake, Betty. Oh my gosh. For these reasons alone, QueenBee believes QueenBee is entitled to relief for this count. What? No, that's not the reason. QueenBee further fails to state or demonstrate how the alleged statements made by BHB are different or do not fall under one of the categories of defamation per se, or how QueenBee was damaged. Again, pro se, you do not have to prove damages, Bullhorn Betty. Go back and read it.
Betty is stupid.
All those years BHB spent watching Matlock turned out to be no help at all. LOL. Oh my goodness gracious. Defamation per quad have a special requirement that must be met to have a cause of action upon which relief may sought. You mean may be sought or granted? She said may sought or granted. Special damages must be
I'd
claimed.
love to see the look on this judge's face when he reads this shit.
QueenBee has made no reference to any special damages, thereby failing to meet the necessary requirements for a cause of action on this count, which is the subject of this lawsuit. Betty, this is supposed to be about the counterclaim,
right?
Not your lawsuit.
It's like, damn, woman.
Oh my gosh. I gotta say, I feel like BHB is like the playbook definition of how not to handle a lawsuit of defamation. Yeah, I mean, just look at her and what she's doing and not do any of that.
She's ignorant.
That would be great. QueenBee isn't out for a payday, but she wants BHB to be responsible for the thousands that have had to be expended on attorney fees. And she wants BHB to learn that she cannot do this without consequences. Right. I mean, to say that QueenBee,
I agree with why
out
QueenBee did a
damages, like monetary
countersuit. I
damages, is
totally
insane to
agree
me.
with it.
Had she not had a community come, actually a bunch of different communities come together and donate to her legal fund, she would be in a lot of trouble right now dealing with all of this with no lawyer.
Yeah.
The fact that she
I'm
has had to
just
spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a lawyer and all of this stuff. And then Bullhorn Betty is filing like 8 things at once just to make her lawyer go through the money faster. Come on now. Come on. You're going to tell me that that's...
This is just being vindictive
Betty.
on
We'll see what the judge
Bullhorn
says.
Betty's side.
That was not a smart thing to do. It is unclear to BHB what the cause of action upon which relief may be sought and or granted. Moreover, lacking the necessary information bars Bullhorn Betty from being able to provide an answer or identify any potential affirmative defenses BHB may have or assert. Therefore, QueenBee has not met the necessary elements to maintain this count. Defamation per quad for failure to state a cause of action and for the pleadings to be made more definite and certain. Okay. All right. Yikes. She goes over the different counts that we just read about. She repeats herself again and says that QueenBee has failed to be specific or particular about what it is she's asking for. And we've already gone over that because QueenBee did, in fact, was very clear and even gave direct quotes in the counterclaim. This is just basically another repeat of that other paragraph. And this is another repeat. I wonder if you did this on purpose or it was an accident. It's also a repeat. Wow, okay. Then she goes on, she says, there is no supporting information on which BHB can rely upon to formulate a response, an answer, or to assert potential affirmative defenses. And therefore,
I'm
QueenBee's
sure she's gotten money donated and stuff from her
down on that,
idiot followers.
Due to the failures of QueenBee to sufficiently plead the facts in this case and to conclude supporting documentation, BHB is unable to render a response to said counterclaims or assert any potential defenses or remedies available to BHB.
I mean, if they can't see the idiocy in this...
Did BHB say granted?
lawsuit that and this
Let me go back. Did
shit
she actually
that
spell it
she's
correctly?
filing in a court?
She'll say, oh, it's granite. It's granite. Did she actually say granted?
I mean, shit, they shouldn't even be allowed to have social media.
Yeah, she spelled granted. Yeah, I saw that. And sometimes, okay, yeah, she said in her community tab post that QueenBee was a drug addict. Oh my gosh. The liens could be placed not just on BHB's house, but anything of value like her vehicle as well. She's in for a rude awakening when Queen wins the countersuit. That is something else I'm very curious about. So say that, and I want people who know a little bit more about this in the chat than I do. Let's just devil's advocate here. Let's say that the judge throws the book at her and does give Queen the countersuit. Like she wins the countersuit and BHB is made to pay for like the legal fees and all of this stuff that she's had to deal with because BHB was harassing her through the courts. My question would be, so where does that money come from? Because I know for a fact that if she's awarded this money, she will not be able to file for bankruptcy and be like, oh, well, I filed for bankruptcy. I'm poor. I don't have any money. I can't give you the money. She can't do that. She'll be prevented from doing that. So are they going to put a lien on her house? Like, that's my question. A motion to dismiss is only granted if the court does not have jurisdiction. There's another action pending over the same subject matter, or is it outside the state of limitations?
Casey, I think she's
Betty's
more
motion
than
to dismiss
just
should only
mentally
contain one or
stable.
more of the three elements
I
and
think
contains
the
none.
woman's done
that's very
lost
true.
every brain cell she ever had.
And yes, it all of it's the same statute of it's the same subject matter and everything.
It's gotta be because of all that cocaine she used
The
to
liens
do.
will also be placed on her bank accounts,
Probably still
PayPal, Venmo,
does.
etc. All of them. That's interesting. I would love to know what happens in a case like this. Like for instance, you have Ichamel, who is now suing Right Up Church. I 100% am behind Mel. I hope he wins and wins everything he's asking
And I
for.
wasn't
So
just
when that
saying
happens,
that
what happens to Right Up
because
Church?
she's
Right?
got
Does
a
he just have
charge
like
for
all these
cocaine
liens until it's paid
in
off?
Florida.
Because that's my question. I would love to know what happens there. She says, just basically repeating herself over and over just to fill space. Okay. Bullhorn Betty, it doesn't have to be 16 pages. I think the lawyers, it was like 7 or 8, and it was very well written. It was concise, and it didn't have extra filler that you're putting in here. So here she's saying that counterclaims contain irrelevant and immaterial information that should be stricken. Okay. Again,
Lawyers
Betty, this is
don't
supposed to be a
waste the
motion to
judge's
dismiss, not for you to
time
argue.
on filler
Okay.
words.
She says, as stated in the paragraphs above and ad nauseum, QueenBee has included irrelevant and immaterial information that should be stricken. What? The paragraphs above are you repeating over and over again about how her lawsuit was not clear enough for you to understand. In QueenBee's counterclaim, she's quoting you directly. How is that irrelevant or immaterial information when it is your quote that she is suing you for? What goes through your head when you write this, Betty? Seriously. QueenBee's lawyer could put her on the stand and question her about assets. That will be interesting to see if that happens. Oh no, she'll have to sell her antique printer. Oh, I don't think anybody will take it. I really don't. BHB has no wage. She does get a paycheck from YouTube. It's a 1099. It's not a W-2, but she does get money from YouTube, and she does get donations from various other platforms. So yeah, she does. She has a little bit of money coming in, and she also owns her house. She has talked publicly about how she owns her house outright because her daddy helped her back in the day. So she does have assets
she
that
took it
could
from her
potentially,
ex-husband.
be
He bought
affected
the
by this.
house with his settlement.
This is a motion to dismiss the counterclaim. And then she's like, QueenBee has a clear disdain for BHB and the reason we are before this court. Right? Among the issues raised by QueenBee states somehow BHB's conduct in the course of her career somehow affects QueenBee. Betty, you doxed her kids on a live stream. It doesn't matter where you did it. Whether you consider your YouTube your quote career
you
or
doxed
not.
my kids and I'm
You
gonna hunt
doxed her
some
kid's
bitch
picture
down.
on a live stream. And YouTube told you that you had to blur it out before they actually took it down, told you to blur it, and you blurred it and put it right back up. How do you think?
Yeah,
I cannot.
with bed
This
bugs.
Thank you, Yami. Clear disdain, ? You started this. Am I high? No, well, you probably are high, but I'm just saying, no. Bullhorn Betty is the one who started all of this to begin with. She is speaking here as if QueenBee sued her first. This is crazy. It says QueenBee has not alleged one fact to support any alleged contact between QueenBee and Bullhorn Betty at this time, at any time prior to the initiation
I
of the
know,
lawsuit,
right?
but littered and
Just the
counterclaims,
thought.
immaterial, and irrelevant, insolent talk that fails to support any of the allegations asserted by QueenBee in the 3 counts. Betty, the fact that you are suing her, that's one of them. Which is why
Damn,
the
Betty.
counterclaim was after you sued her frivolously. Wow. Okay. It is crazy checking. It's very, very crazy. Thank you, Patricia. I actually just got it. I better stop drinking this Hawaiian punch. Oh my goodness. One way to collect from BHB is to attach future earnings,
Oh,
i.e. YouTube
girl,
can detect whether
everything in
amount
my
the court
damn
says
house
and
would be
send to
gone.
QueenBee
I'd
future
take
earnings
that
can
shit
cut
outside and set that
lottery
shit on
winnings.
fire.
Interesting. Okay. It is definitely going to be
I
interesting
don't
to
do
see what
bugs.
happens, because if she keeps going like this, she's just going to piss the judge off more and more. Like she's writing this motion to dismiss the counterclaim as if she's the victim here. She's the one who perpetrated this entire situation to begin with. So that's ridiculous to me. Her use of the word insolent floored me, right? Irrelevant, insolent talk that fails to support any of the allegations. So you're calling the lawyer irrelevant, insolent talk. You're saying, okay, all right. See, this is what I'm talking about. That antagonistic attitude, when it's not even appropriate to even bring that up to begin with, that is going to piss the judge off. She cites a bunch of stuff, and then she says, if a litigant insists on obscuring his claim with irrelevant and inappropriate allegations, the trial may simply disregard the improper allegations as surplusage, I guess. Hopefully I said that correctly. That's crazy. The judgment creditor can garnish your bank account and wages required to reveal all assets belonging to you and place a lien on any non-homestead property. Interesting. Even if she drops it, QueenBee can still countersue for earnings. I'm in hardship. Can't come to Illinois, but a trip to Tennessee was possible. Well, right. See, that right there, that I'm hoping will piss the judge off enough.
Same here.
To where he's like, you know what? You're going to file this and tell me that you need special privileges to be on Zoom and all of this. And then 48 hours later, you're traveling further than Illinois. Really? I'm sure the judge is smart enough. He'll pick it up. Insulin. That's how she'd spell it. She says, BHB affirms the statements made in QueenBee's counterclaims that QueenBee has verified as true and correct, except as to matters therein stated to be on information and belief. You mean in information and belief? Are irrelevant and immaterial to the claims asserted by QueenBee in this action. I'm tripping over these words because this is so haphazardly put together. Okay, she's just repeating herself again and again here. Again, this whole section is just repeating. And then here, look at this. This right here is straight up from copying the lawyer. This is what the lawyer was saying. It is unclear to BHB the who, what, when, where, and how, because the pleading is filled with an overwhelming amount of irrelevant, immaterial language. It clouds what facts QueenBee is asserting. That is not a sentence, Betty. Oh, what the cause of action is and upon which relief may be sought and or granted. She actually said TED that time. Oh my God. BHB has gone to Tennessee, Maryland, New York, and is going to Idaho and only God knows where else, probably Georgia, for Leilani's trial, and tells everyone this on her live streams. She lies in court docs. That won't end well. Well, exactly. Because that is straight up lying yet again. I will definitely look at that later, Patricia. I really appreciate that. Copy and paste and repeat. Well, right. Again, this was about 8 pages too long. And this right here, she is conflating her lawsuit. The bill of particulars was asking her for this. This is not, like she even quoted it. This is not from the counterclaim. This is from the demand for the bill of particulars for the original lawsuit. Betty said that QueenBee was not entitled to the who, what, when, where, but now she demands it, make it make sense. Well, I mean, exactly. And then she quotes what he wrote in the bill of particulars, when this is not even about the lawsuit or the bill of particulars. This is about the counterclaim. She's mixing all of this up.
She's
And then
just
once again, she's
showing
like, it's
how
filled with
ignorant she
irrelevant
is.
and immaterial language. It clouds what facts QueenBee is asserting. Moreover, lacking the necessary information bars Bullhorn Betty from being able to provide an answer or identify any potential affirmative defenses BHB may have or assert. Again, repeating, wow, okay. And then she says, therefore, you know, it should be dismissed because it doesn't comply with abusive process, defamation, blah, blah, blah. So here's the part that was very crazy. Failure to add necessary parties to counterclaims. That right there, I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a minute. You're mad because QueenBee is not also suing your friends? What? Thank you, Amy. Reminds me of Crude's suit when she brought up BurntToast. I can just see her bringing up other YouTube channels. And exactly, this is the best part. So this, okay. I'm just going to read it and we'll go from there. She says the proper remedy for Miss Joyner, I think it's Joinder, right? I think this is misspelled. It's Joinder, I think. Or failure to join a necessary party. Girl, stop it. Talk about sync here, okay? Put sick. QueenBee has re-alleged each of the foregoing paragraphs on each of the three counts listed and stipulated, or does she mean situated? Situated within the four corners of QueenBee's counterclaims, which contains sections identifying several individuals in addition to BHB and incorporated therein and located under BHB's awareness of the law section of the counterclaim, which QueenBee appears to allege these additional individuals are some sort of co-defendants. It is unclear and fails to state which specificity or particularity. That's crazy. That's not even how you write sentences, but BHB, no. At no point has QueenBee added anyone else as a co-defendant. It's just you, boo-boo. It's just you. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's see what she says about it. It indicates, among other issues, that BHB's actions mirror JLR. QueenBee states JLR recently sued 3 individuals in Ohio for defamation for referring to him as a stalker, doxer, sick. Okay, first of all, Betty, we've already talked about this. You don't have to put that in every quote. Okay, there's multiple ways to spell this word. That's not misspelled or used incorrectly in the sentence. So this should not be there. Just saying. Scammer and not searching for missing people. QueenBee alleged further defaming information about JLR and providing a statement of fact into the court record that is irrelevant and immaterial assertions that, quote, Riches has been barred from filing actions in some unknown amount of courts. Well, I mean, that I don't understand why you're saying that that is an assertion that is true. He did get sanctioned where in some circumstances, he is no longer able to file lawsuits. He can still file lawsuits, but they have to be very specific. It can't be frivolous, things like that, which is kind of like, I mean, he got in trouble for that when he was in prison for filing so many frivolous lawsuits. A federal judge came in and was like, okay, we're going to prevent you from filing future frivolous lawsuits. So he has to 100%, like that's not an assertion, Betty. That is a fact. You should ask him about it. He's talked about this publicly, by the way, Betty. He can only sue in certain circumstances. So you might want to ask your friend, or I guess now ex-friend, who knows? But no, Betty, let me spell it out for you, okay? Okay. Bullhorn Betty, the lawyer, is not going to hand over their defense strategy. So just because you don't understand why she is saying certain things, that's for you and your other personalities, your lawyer, to decide, okay? That doesn't mean that it is, what does it say? Irrelevant and immaterial. It's not irrelevant and immaterial.
I sure hope so, Casey.
She did not add anyone as a co-defendant.
Ridiculous.
If she did, they would have been served. She did not. They were not. Oh, my bad. Okay, hold on one second. Talk amongst yourselves one quick second.
I mean, this is just all just asinine. And none of it makes sense.
Shoot. Yeah, sorry about that. I have to go back and find you and unblock you. Actually, let me see if it'll let me scroll up. I don't know why it did that. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Okay, there you go. I will say, though, I see why your comments were deleted. Now, I would just ask that you not, I don't know who those people are. And so I don't want people promoted in my chat that I don't know who they are. So I will just say that. I see why your comments were deleted by one of the mods. But yeah, if you just refrain from that, that'd be great. It says, OMG, what if BH does the whole Daryl Brooks, the man, the lawyer, the client? Objection, Your Honor. Yeah, that would be great. It shall prevail in the court of law. Okay, we'll see. And she goes on to say, BHB has
Now
no
you
idea or
see
information
why
to
I
rely on
have
related
I
to
kind
how
of
this is
threw in
relevant or material to
the
the matter
Daryl Brooks
at issue,
trial
but appears
that
to
we
be
started
including and
watching
incorporating
yesterday.
therein a co-defendant. Betty, again, he's not a co-defendant. Is Dolly a co-defendant or a co-plaintiff in your lawsuit? Because you have like a whole section just about him. He is not your co-plaintiff. He is a witness. Okay, Queen can do the same. Okay, and she's not even, I don't even know if she's calling them as a witness, but they're certainly not a co-defendant. That's entirely different. Grounds, what grounds? That Betty Brooks, oh, that'd be so funny. He can't prepare legal documents for a case he isn't a party of. It's in the orders from the judge. Yeah, see, none of these people that, like she mentions here, she mentions Dolly, MGL, and JLR. None of them are co-defendants. None of them are co-plaintiffs. Those three people aren't part of her, of QueenBee's counterclaim. They're not part of it at all. So that this is, again, she's bringing her friends into a legal situation for no reason. And I don't know whether she's doing it and she doesn't realize how this could legally negatively affect them, or if she's doing it to just, I don't know. This is very strange to me. She says, still, QueenBee has failed to include JLR on the counterclaim and has failed to serve this action upon JLR. She's mad because QueenBee didn't serve JLR with a counterclaim. Wow. Wow, what a friend BHB is to have. Wow. Thereby failing to include all necessary parties to QueenBee's actions, thereby not affording JLR a right to defend himself in this action where QueenBee has raised issue with JLR. Bullhorn Betty, what are you talking about? QueenBee is not suing JLR. This is about you. This is not about JLR. She says QueenBee re-alleges each of the foregoing paragraphs and incorporates those allegations into each one of the counts. Therefore, QueenBee failed to incorporate JLR in this action in violation of Illinois law. What law are you talking about? The state of Illinois, nor a judge can't force someone to sue someone else. That's not a thing. QueenBee alleges in fact, in late March 2023, BHB participated in a discussion with Dolly, who uses the handle Dolly Vision, and MGL, who uses the handle Molly Golightly Sick. There's no sick, that's her name. Why did you put that in there? MGL. Okay, first of all, MGL has been MGL has been clear that she does not like being called MGL. So I think it's hilarious that her so-called friend keeps calling her MGL and putting it in legal documents. This is hilarious. But again, Betty, we talked about this. This doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be there. And this should go here, right here. Although the sentence is incomplete, it is referring some sort of live stream. All three individuals, Bullhorn Betty, Dolly, and MGL, were allegedly discussing QueenBee in a defaming light. But QueenBee again fails to include these alleged co-defendants or reference with particularity which live stream QueenBee is alleging. Oh my God, Betty. This is a massive temper tantrum that your friends aren't getting sued, but you are. So you're just going to throw them under the bus like this? Wow. Okay. Betty's house is safe from the lawsuit because it is her primary home, most likely homesteaded. It is not attachable in Florida if I read the information correctly. Oh, okay, well, she's got other things that will have a lien on it then. She's got a couple of things, actually. She's listening to you say, Dolly, your witness. So she thought she needed to add them. I guess, but that still doesn't make sense because, again, her original lawsuit was before the countersuit. So Bullhorn Betty said all of that first. And now she's like, what? She better watch out. JLR might sue her. My gosh. This is insane. What kind of friend does that for real? And now I'm like, I see why Molly is upset. And I see why she's saying that she doesn't want contact with her anymore because, I mean, Bullhorn Betty doesn't have much to lose because she hasn't actually done anything with her fucking life. But Molly and her husband, they have a lot to lose. And it's just crazy that she's trying to drag them into this. It's interesting. Although the sentence, okay, I already said that. She says BHB has no information to rely on related to how, what? BHB has no information to rely on related to how QueenBee's allegations are irrelevant to the matter at issue, but appears to be including and incorporating thereon multiple co-defendants. No, she isn't, Bullhorn Betty. If it was a co-defendant, you would be able to scroll up to the top of the document and they would be listed as co-defendants. She's not wanting to sue any of those other people. Just you, Betty. You know why? Because you sued her and you're costing her money. So now she's having to get a lawyer and raise money to pay for the lawyer because of you. Those other 3 people aren't doing that. That's one of the reasons. I think she was hoping that if MGL joined the suit, that MGL would foot the bill for a lawyer. That is interesting. I tend to agree with that, actually. Why is she bringing in other parties? The judge, I'm sure, will inquire who those people listed are and what's the relevance. I mean, right. They have nothing to do with this. By her logic, any citation that you give, you also have to include all of those people from those cases as co-defendants. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Do you think she's doing less on YouTube because of this lawsuit to possibly say she's losing money and views before the case goes before the judge? That's interesting. I'm not sure. Recently, she's actually been doing more. She's now traveling again. She's posting stuff every day. So maybe. I'm not sure. Didn't BHB just admit to defaming QueenBee on that live by saying all of her friends were? That I'm not sure. Yeah, Nicey says, just think of the dirt MGL has on BHB, ... That's a lot of ... It says, still, QueenBee has failed to include Dolly or MGL on the counterclaims and has failed to serve this action upon either Dolly or MGL, thereby failing to include all necessary parties to QueenBee's action, thereby not affording Dolly or MGL a right to defend themselves in this action where QueenBee has raised an issue with JLR and now Dolly and Molly. What? That is not at all what it said. So again, this is her bitching that her friends were not served with a lawsuit. Y'all think about that. Wow. And they, oh, wow. At least Molly came out publicly and denounced this. But damn. Why? I don't understand simping for somebody who is going to throw you under the bus like this. I don't understand this. This is naming you by name. Legal names that I had to cover up. Legal names in a legal document now. Like, this is not what a friend does. QueenBee realleges each of the foregoing paragraphs and incorporates those allegations into each one of the counts. Therefore, QueenBee failed to incorporate JLR, Dolly, and or MGL. Wait, she says MLG. What? I think she means MGL. In this action in violation of Illinois law. That's not against the law, Betty. Just because QueenBee decides to countersue you because you're the one who sued her first, causing her financial hardship, why would that have anything to do with your 3 friends? Oh, wait, it doesn't. She can't even suddenly say those trips were for work because she claimed that the lawsuit is to protect her job. Well, right. So she can't have it both ways, right? So one minute she claims that this is her career. She has a media company. This is about her business, her branding, blah, 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 right? And then the next minute she's like, oh, but I'm a private citizen. You cannot have it both ways. State the law QueenBee is breaking BHB, right? She cannot do that. Or she'll pull some random thing that doesn't make sense and claim that she's breaking that law, and it won't even have anything to do with what this is. She literally said that the law requires Queen to sue Dolly and Molly. Yes, she did, and it's not true. Like, that is not true. Again, show me the law in any state. I will go even outside of Illinois. Show me where it says in any state that you are required to sue people. It doesn't exist. it would be wonderful if the judge breaks this down and responds to her in court page by page. Burn. Oof. She'd probably start crying. 100%. Like bat her little Karen eyelashes. Oh, I'm a victim. She'd totally do that. Doesn't look like she knows what the heck she's doing. She really doesn't. I would be embarrassed if I posted something like this. I would be so embarrassed. I would do whatever I could to make sure I had a lawyer because this is embarrassing. And she's like probably going to ruin some friendships over this too. Her own friendships. She says, however, it is well established in Illinois law that in any event, the non-joinder, okay, she spelled it right there, joinder of the parties is not grounds for dismissal of the complaint unless a reasonable opportunity is provided to add the parties. It is unclear to BHB who specifically QueenBee is suing. Are you kidding me? She's suing you, dum-dum. Your name is on there. Who do you think Bullhorn Betty is, aka your real legal name? Girl, stop. What do you mean you're unclear as to who specifically QueenBee is suing? What? What? She says, and for what purpose, and there is no supporting documentation attached to the counterclaim, and upon which relief may be sought and or granted. What do you mean? How? What? It is unclear to BHB who specifically QueenBee is suing as for what purpose. Wow. Okay. This is going to be a problem for you, Bullhorn Betty. This is not, this one sentence right here, this is going to piss him off too. Like, this is ridiculous. What do you mean you don't know who she's suing?
Wow.
You are writing a motion to dismiss the counterclaim from where she is suing you. Wow. Okay. Moreover, lacking the necessary information bars BHB from being able to provide an answer or identify any potential affirmative defenses BHB may have or assert. Therefore, QueenBee has not included all necessary parties to this action. So wait a second. She is such a control freak and such a baby that she's mad that she can't control who or who not QueenBee decides to sue. What? So yeah, I'd stand by what I said earlier, 100%. This is her throwing a tantrum because she's getting sued and her friends are not. That's what this is. That is one of the underlying things going on right here, in my opinion. This is one of the craziest documents I have ever heard. Thank you for reading it to us. You're welcome. All I will say is that the laws of Georgia don't support any of this BS. The country. Yes. Maybe she was looking up a different country. Who knows? Goodness gracious. This is the conclusion, and it's just as crazy. She says QueenBee has failed to state any cause of action for all three counts. The counterclaims were unclear and not concise, and no nexus exists between the statements of facts alleged and the claims asserted. Zena with fire, welcome to the dumpster fire. I appreciate that. Is it safe to assume that Betts doesn't want to turn over BOP because maybe things like fraud, no tax filings, etc., allegedly? Maybe.
I know, Casey, right?
I also think that she's just ignorant. And she didn't realize that
she's just ignorant. Like
refusing to do that document was going to cause her a lot more headache and expose even more so what QueenBee is alleging is in fact true. Like, yeah. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that until more stuff gets dropped. Queen says the counterclaims are unclear. She said that. Okay. There was no supporting documentation to assist in clarifying the issues raised, and QueenBee failed to include the additional co-defendants. So she's still mad. So she's making her entire conclusion. So let me get this straight. So the entire conclusion of her her motion to dismiss, the overarching thing that she's complaining about the most is she claims that she has no idea who QueenBee is suing and has no idea why QueenBee is suing that person, and because they didn't also include suing her friends, her three besties. What?
Yep, that sums it up.
As such, the pleading needs to be more definite and certain. Designated immaterial matters be stricken, necessary parties be added, and or misjoined parties be dismissed. How can they? Okay, Betty. How can QueenBee dismiss people who are not listed as plaintiffs or defendants?
And
that's
the
not
judge
how any
can't
of this works.
make her add
QueenBee
someone
doesn't have to dismiss
either.
them because she never served them. This is not even about them. This is about you. If you had not sued her to begin with, none of this would be happening. It says pleading fails to allege essential elements in the cause of action. That's not true. And pleading fails to state any claims upon which relief may be granted. Wow, Betty. This is not going to go well for you. Motion to dismiss counterclaims shall not be misconstrued as a responsive pleading. BHB is merely raising legal issues surrounding the legal sufficiency of QueenBee's counterclaims. But the problem with that, Bullhorn Betty, is a motion to dismiss. Oh my God. That is your response. This is your response to the counterclaim. You had a certain deadline, you had to respond by a certain day, and you responded with this motion to dismiss the counterclaim. So for you to sit here and be like, oh, it shouldn't be misconstrued as a responsive plea. This is responsive. What you mean? This is your response. What? Oh, I feel dumber after reading this. She left it intentionally blank. And she says, counter defendant BHB requests this court to grant this motion to dismiss without prejudice for the reasons set forth herein. What? Girl. Okay, wow. Yeah, so again.
Bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Who's listed here? Just you two. Oh, this is Heels, but she'll be taken off. She's being formally dismissed because she was actually listed as a co-defendant. That's why she's being dismissed. Illinois has no jurisdiction over somebody who lives in another state.
Nope.
Wow. I mean, so
crazy.
I would never be friends. Like if I'm telling you right now, if I was friends with someone, and these are people that she's met in real life. Okay, these are not just internet friends. These are friends that like she has IRL as well.
She knows.
She's traveled with them. She has quote unquote worked with them, protested with them. If I had a friend like that I knew in real life and online that I had worked with, and they threw me under the bus like this.
Part. But yeah, that's not a friend. She totally just threw her friends under the bus, and all of the bullshit that she was spewing in these things is just ridiculous. But we have a few more that we'll get through on another day, but I figured I'd do at least a couple of them today so we can kind of get through them, because like I said, there's several more. But I do want to thank you guys for joining me and hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have to wake hubby up here in a little bit. So thanks again for joining me. Love you, girl. And I'll catch you on the next one. Here's the outro.